she said, I've got things in my head that she don't wanna hear nothing about. I've got the things she said in my head. That's what she's about. It's a game and she knows it, and she really likes to play it. It's a game and she knows it. She thinks I like to play it too. I suppose I kinda do. I've done things to her, she's done back to me. 3 or 5 times worse, she's been into me for a while now, about where we've been and gone. It's a game and she knows it, and she really likes to play it. It's a game and she knows it. She thinks I like to play it too. I suppose I kinda do. I suppose I kinda do. We've been sharing this space for the summertime. Hard to look away, find a space in my time and place where I think you can't see me. We've been sharing these eyes for a long time, but we see things differently, you and me. Still share the space inside of me. We're all in here eventually. It's a game and she knows it, and she really likes to play it. It's a game and she knows it. She thinks I like to play it too. She thinks I like to play it too. I suppose I kinda do.
There it is. G'day, you mob. Long time no see. Straight away beset by bugs. How are you, strangers? What's been going on in your worlds and stuff? Jesus Christ, my teeth look terrible. But I try not to look at them. Why did I dye my hair? I didn't dye my hair. It's still a bit damp. Still very white on the sides there. No, I haven't dyed my hair for years and years. Once I started growing grey, it was like, just bloody go grey with grace, mate. Or something like that. You know how it is. When you get old, you don't give a stuff anymore. Oh, look out, Paddy. Paddy's first this time. Super rare. Well done, Paddy. James, miles behind, a whole 12 minutes afterwards. How are we anyway? G'day. S, how are you? BJ, how's it going? Huawei, how are you? I look pissed on the thumbnail, you mean. I realised after I set that thumbnail that it was pretty much exactly the same frame I used for the last one, I think. That was weeks ago, so, you know, no one will remember that. Joel G, g'day, mate. How's it going? Fish Dreams, how are you? Who else we got here? Terry, how are you, mate? Long time. I suppose it's a long time for everyone, really, isn't it? Cut your own hair. I tend to do that most of the time. However, my recent trim of the side bits and around the back and stuff was done by my son. Came up to borrow my clippers, so I thought, get him to do it. Pardon me. Yeah, when I first did my undercut a few months ago, I kind of made a little bit of a mess of it, but I prefer not to have hair sticking into my ears, even though it still does when it's this long. But anyway, it's only hair. Grows back for most of us. For mostly of our life. So, Australia had a federal election at the weekend. And thank goodness we got a new Prime Minister. Got the guy that I voted for, thank goodness. But that was probably only because everyone hated, or not everyone, obviously, but a lot of people did not like how our previous Prime Minister was doing things. He's a bit of a wanker, bit of a dickhead. And yeah, so thankfully him and his silly people got voted out of power, and we've got new power in the country. And it's the first time in a long time that, because we have a two-party political system, but we also have independents. And we got a lot of independents elected into all of the, crikey, what are they called? Electorates. So it's called a minority government. I don't even know what it means, really, but that's what it's called. So, yeah, interesting times. New politics. Politics stinks. I hate it, but, we've all got to do it. Well, I guess you guys don't have to do it over there, do you? It's not compulsory to vote. The Labor one. Well, wait. So he's a Labor minority government. But yeah, I think it's called a minority government when their winning party gets less than 50% of the seats in the Senate or something like that. Let's find out if this guy knows.
Hi.
G'day there.
What's up, man?
Oh,
How's my levels? Are my levels good? My sound good?
Yeah, your sound is quite good.
All right. Doing a solid.
Interesting new surroundings.
There's new stuff back there. Look at that. There's stuff back there. Oh my God. It's unbelievable.
Might not be new stuff. It's just different stuff that used to be.
Well, there's new stuff too. I mean, come on.
A mixture of both.
New stuff in the background. Oh my God. I forgot to share out the stream. I haven't done it yet. I'm a bad guest. I'm supposed to share it out.
Yeah, I don't even ask people to anymore. I keep forgetting to do that. I don't even do it myself anymore. I find a lot of people, you share it out on the fish tubers channels, and most people come along expecting to talk about, but have to listen to us talking about fish and stuff, and they come along and they get bloody Star Wars and movies and stuff.
Well, that's like, we gotta be true to self here and go like, yeah, that's a reality. Is that we have a lot of audience that is 100% only interested in one thing, and that's like, it's gotta only be fish talk. Like my sponge filters are kicking this week, bro. They're doing super good. My sponge filters, man. I just want to let you know about them. Boy, they're picking up mulm. I tell you, they're scooping up mulm out of the water, and it's looking clear, dude. And my bacterial growth. Boy, it's good.
Actually, While you're talking about that, let's buck the trend. I've got mole worms in my shrimp tank. They're fine, aren't they?
Yeah, detritus worms. Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah.
No
Yeah, I
big
just
deal
like-
for the shrimpies, man.
I like how they
you
just waft up in the water and sway around.
Generally,
That's
it's any kind of little wormy guys you got to worry about is planaria. If you see a planaria doing the sliding around on the glass, it's like, oh crap, gotta do something.
Touch
Yeah.
wood. I've never had planaria before. Sarah had it in one of her tanks.
Mhm.
But
Bit of
yeah,
a pain, but a little
all my years, I've
fenbendazole,
never had it.
little fenbendazole dog dewormer. Dilute it down, put it in there. I never told you to do that, but that's what I do. And they get rid of them.
People,
Yeah, you're probably going to lose a couple shrimp and stuff like that, but they're just going to slowly all die while the planaria hammer them down, bit by bit. So you might as well kill the weak ones with the planaria at the same time.
yeah. I like
Were you guys talking politics? Oh, you guys have a new election with the minority government?
yes.
Mhm.
Do you know what a minority government means? Is it?
Yeah. Well,
What I
it could
said?
be it could be one of two things. You could either end up with like a prime minister that was elected that won with like under 50% approval. I believe is
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
ways. And then they nowadays they normally do the runoff to
Yeah,
continually. There's like some
Preferences,
countries
it's called here.
Yeah, some countries do the no confidence thing, where they like, let's say you had 3 people running for prime minister and they all got like 38% or something, or 32% or whatever. Then they would do a runoff of the top 2, and if you got 50%, under 50%, sometimes they do a vote of no confidence and go like, well, we're gonna run it again 60 days or whatever. But minority government is typically like the prime minister's party doesn't have a majority of all of whatever parliamentary form you operate under, because every country is different,
Yeah.
But that's generally what it is that like you just essentially have like a non-consensus government. I guess to relate it in the states, the way that the states would say it is that you have for instance, you'd have a president that was a Democrat, and then the House and Senate were Republican majority, right? So that you're just going to have a whole lot of bickering and nothing happening for. I mean, as far as the U.S. goes, that means that the Defense Department's just going to get a lot of money, and everything else will just be willy-nilly floating about for a couple years.
Yeah, we have a preferential system as well, because we have a lot of independents and smaller parties.
Right.
So the smaller parties, if they basically stipulate points to the bigger parties to say,
Right.
if we don't have success, or if we get in, I think it works that way, that their preference, they say, well, we want our power to go to this party instead of that party, because it's essentially only going to be one of the major parties that gets in as prime minister.
Yeah, generally speaking,
it's a silly system, only having 2 people possibly going in. But anyway,
well, yeah, I mean, without some real wild reform, most places aren't going to see any real change.
Huawei says
Earnestly.
liberal means conservative and Labor means liberal in Australia.
Yeah,
it is kind of true. Yes,
it is true. I mean, I guess like I would probably be in the Labor Party realistically in Australia or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Your politics is
Right.
confusing to me because you guys, everything's a whingy whatever or something. I don't know half the time what you guys are talking about. So,
well, our system runs as well that, like, we don't actually vote for the prime minister; we vote for their representatives in our electorate.
right.
So that's where you get all of your Greens and independents and what other
Yeah.
parties are there? There's a marijuana party. There's a shooters and fishers party.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of other smaller ones that try and sway some influence. But yeah, so you vote in your own electorate for the person you want to be running your joint, and then that all adds up to the Prime Minister.
Yeah, BJ has a good point that we should have mandatory voting like Australia does. I wholeheartedly agree with that. I believe that the U.S. should have a mandatory voting. You should just mandatorily be registered, and you should just have to vote. And if you don't, I think if you don't vote in the U.S., I think that the punishment, the penalty, whatever you want to call it, should be you get no tax credits. You know, you lose your deduction.
Generally, about 4 to 6 weeks before you turn 18, you get paperwork in the post here to enroll to vote. So by the time you're 18, you're all in the system and ready to go.
Right.
And yeah, I think I got a $150 fine once for not voting.
Right.
Actually, no, I did have to pay that one. It was a different fine I got out of. Oh, that's right, jury duty. I got a $1,500 fine for that one.
Right.
But yeah, I wrote a letter to the sheriff to get out of it. And I got out of it. So that was bloody lucky because I didn't have $1,500 to spend on a fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's only been one. I remember when I looked this up, there's only been one, well, modern day or whatever, you know. There's only ever been one case of a guy going to jail, you know, for not voting in Australia. There was only one case. It was some guy who was like unreasonably arguing his position where, like the judge was like, seriously, just pay the fine and stay out of jail. And he was like, no, in protest, like, you better put me in jail. I was like, okay, well then just go to jail for a while, like.
Probably best for those kind of people that just want to dig their heels in. G'day, Vitra.
Yeah, BJ is saying, like, we fought too hard for our freedom. Need to work just as hard to keeping it. Yeah, I mean, like, from my perspective, living in Washington State where I live, like, voting is not very difficult where I live. The part of the U.S. where I live, we do all mail-in ballots. You can go vote in person if you so wildly choose to do it. There are some locations where you can go vote in person, but all of our voting is by mail. Registering to vote is actually like really easy in Washington. You can do it online even these days. You can just log in. You have a bunch of questions to answer and a bunch of stuff to go over. But I think last time I had to re-register because I had moved so many times that they wanted me to just re-register. And I think it took a total of like 8 minutes or something. I mean, it was like, it's no big deal. So, and then they send you a thing in the mail that you sign and you send back. Right. And then, but you're registered. I think you have like, it's 24-hour period. So I think if you do it like 2 days before the vote, you'll get registered in time to even vote in the thing that's coming up. So, but a lot of the states in the U.S., it's like, it's intentionally a super big pain to get registered, to find the location where you have to go to and show up.
Because they don't want the voice of the nation speaking.
They don't want the voice of the localities where their elections are happening being heard. That's really what it is. I mean, the unfortunate thing is it's like they don't want the voice of poor people being heard. That's really what it boils down to,
Or surely if they couldn't be bothered voting, then what's the worth of their opinion?
Right. But I mean, they say it in that way. But the reality is that like it's incredibly cumbersome for somebody if you are going to miss like a whole day of work on a Tuesday. Our elections are on like Tuesdays, right?
Yeah, just
so like if you have a job, right, Most people work on Tuesday, if you have a job. So,
G'day, Pam. Cody, how's it going?
Cody Donovan says false, Joel. False. Apparently, that's the answer. Fish Dreams is wondering what is Joel's lady co-host channel. Alyssa Bentley. Alyssa. I don't. I might have the link. Well, I'll see if I can find it. But I think if you look up. Oh my god, I can't type on this new keyboard. This is crazy. Let me see if I have it in my notes. Let me see if I can't find the link for you.
I broke my wireless keyboard, apparently. I tried to use it today, and if anyone noticed, I had a spelling mistake in my title of today's show.
Show links. It might be in here. Oh yeah, here it is. I've got the link, so you can literally just click it.
I'm not sure.
Paste.
I'm not sure what she's up to.
Oh my god, your opinion is if you can't afford to vote in the United States, you probably shouldn't. I mean, if that's your opinion, just leave this country. Jesus, that's ridiculous. Oh my god. What disgusting. If you're too poor, you shouldn't be able to vote. Okay, get out of here. Whatever, dude. It's ridiculous.
Maybe I can't tell if Cody's being funny or not.
I can't tell either. It doesn't seem to matter at this point.
To have a vote.
Yeah, no doubt.
This is the problem about talking politics, isn't it? It stirs up fucking wasps' nests all the time.
Oh, I don't know. It's funny. I mean, what's the reality? What's the reality of having what's the reality of having a bad opinion? Is that somebody will argue with you against it, right? Or make fun of you for having a terrible opinion or having a terrible thought process. And then you'll get super mad and stomp your feet around and get all mad and upset. And it's like, I don't know, maybe take a minute and think, why is it when you bring up this crappy opinion and people make fun of you for it? Why is that? Why would they react that way? Right. That would be my outside hope of just going like, so Cody says, how much does it cost to vote? As I was illustrating earlier, it might cost you a day's wage, right? It might cost you a day's wage. And if you're somebody who makes 12, 15, 18 bucks an hour and you got a kid and a wife at home, you might not be able to miss a day of work to go vote and stand in line and stand outside and miss time from work. You might not be able to do that. That might not be something that you are willing to sacrifice, like coming up short on the bills at the end of the month because you were forced to go stand in line in order to vote, right?
G'day, Neil.
If you can't afford a day's wage to get your voice heard, so be it. Oh my God. From the position of privilege, like whatever, dude. That's ridiculous. Why don't you sacrifice a day's wage next time you go vote? Why don't you donate a day's wage to charity next time you go vote? And he wants to explain that's opportunity cost. I mean, if you understood the first thing about opportunity cost, you wouldn't have thrown that out there as your argument, but all right, whatever. So how are things going, man? I haven't talked to you in a couple weeks.
Well, I've just had something go ping in my wrist. It doesn't feel very nice at all. It's my drinking hand. Do
you have the carpal tunnel?
No, it's in this tendony business down here. Oh, look. It was really nice and sunny this morning for a good few hours, and I thought, what a perfect opportunity to set up in the outdoors again. And then about 3 minutes before I started, it clouded over and started raining again.
The rain is back. How's the flood going?
Well, it hasn't flooded here, but it's just been, for a couple of, not here at my house, out in the hills and stuff. There's causeways and roads broken again and people stuck out in the hills. But it's just constant wetness and annoyingness. So it gets on the nerves. There's a lot of people very frustrated and engaged in trauma. because of all the bloody non-stop rain, and they say it's potentially will continue through winter into August. This La
Right.
Nina nonsense. It's all supposed to be influenced by La Nina. And then we've got a polar blow coming up from the south, but I don't know if that'll come up as far as us. But yeah, down in Victoria and bottom part of Western Australia and New South Wales, we'll get it. Tasmania, freezing weather, extra snow, some rains.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty non-stop and brutally annoying. What else has been going on? Huawei, good question. I can probably address that about how Sarah's doing. Sarah's got the Rona.
Oh, she got
She's
the
had-
COVID.
Yeah, she's had it for a couple of weeks now. Fingers crossing that she'll be without it by Tuesday, because we have to drive to Brisbane to enter a piece of artwork into the competition that she won last year. So she's got a really nice piece going in. So fingers crossed she can do that again. And then yeah, she's looking at a few other competitions and stuff as well to get her art into. And what else has been going on? Not a lot with all this rain. Pretty interesting Formula One race at the weekend.
Oh yeah.
That's always good fun. I'll lap that shit up.
It
Lots
wasn't
of cricket.
flooded. It wasn't flooded out.
Not in Spain. It's very hot apparently. Shit, I might have to get headphones. This rain's getting loud and louder and louder. Big D, how's it going? Easing off. Yeah, saw the Boys season 3 trailer.
Mhm.
Actually made me go and start watching it again. So I binged the Boys over about 4 or 5 days in between cricket games over the last 2 weeks.
Have you just been?
g'day,
Have you
Donny
just
G.
been binging cricket?
Well, there's pretty much, it's the Indian Premier League, which if you're not familiar is just a 20 overs each team competition. So each game only goes for about 3.5 hours max. Only.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, about 90 minutes each way with a 10-minute break in the middle. And they get penalised if they don't do their bowling in time. They get
I'll say this:
large cash fines.
football, like American football, is like it's about 3.5 hours. And I've been known to watch a couple games on a Sunday, but any more than a couple, any more than 2, I think I'd start to get ants in my pants. I'm like, I got to go jogging or something.
You know, they what's the actual? It's 2 halves, isn't it? American football, and what's the actual time on the clock for each half?
There's 4 quarters, so 15 minutes.
15 minutes each quarter. So yeah, so a similar thing with what I've been doing, because the IPL games are in India and they start late at night. So it's generally spot on midnight, actually, by the time a game starts. So I don't want to be, I'm too old to stay up till 4 a.m. every night of the week. So I watch the replays the next day. So all of the breaks in play, that 15-second skip button, that's your best mate. So I can get through a 3-hour game in less than 2 hours, just by skipping in between overs, in the lulls, in the breaks. It's very handy. But yeah, some fucking awesome cricket has been had. There's been 71 games in the tournament. The first of the finals.
How's there
last
71 games? What
70
what is
games
going on?
in the round robin section, because I was trying to work this out myself the other day. There's 10 teams in the competition, right? So they can't play. If they played each other twice, what's that? 9, 18. What's 18 by? No, that's not how to work it out. Anyway, I think that they must play some teams more than they play others. because the numbers don't add up. 10 doesn't go into 7 very evenly. I mean 70, apart from 7. But they didn't play 7 games each. It's really confusing. Did I Mickham? I missed Mickham coming in. How are you, Mickham? Yeah, we're sensible as well, Mickham. We do Saturdays so they can have it all voted and counted up by midnight on Saturday night, or at worst by Sunday morning. Yeah, I can't work out that for the life of me how the games add up. So they must play regular amounts against certain teams. But yeah, now we're into the finals, so there's only 1, 2, 3, 4 games left of the whole tournament. So then I'll have to have a couple of weeks off cricket just to get it out of my system, to flush it through. Then something else will come on. Oh, well, OB1, that starts on Friday night, unfortunately.
It's just like so they just play like 48,000 matches, basically, is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, India is probably the wealthiest cricket nation, as in their cricketdom in India is huge. It's so much bigger than any other country that it's played in. So they have so much money. So the whole tournament is just basically an advertising fiasco opportunity. So every little thing in the game is, a sponsor's name, such and such. The Seat Tires strategic timeout. the Rupee on the go for. Silly things like that. All these Indian companies that must pay a shit ton of money to get little things named after them. Yeah, they really do like their advertising over there, and just looking at all.
They like advertising everywhere.
They are hugely westernized nowadays, and probably have been for 30 years. But just to see the progression over the last 20 years of the way people dress in the crowds and stuff has been pretty phenomenal. They're all just, jeans and t-shirts and chicks showing skin and stuff. Oh, yeah, I read about that this morning. I didn't read much about it, though. Biggest shooting since Sandy Hook in a school, I mean. Yeah, not the biggest shooting since Sandy Hook, just the biggest one. A bunch of elementary kids just trying to go to school, man. Fucking devastating. It's devastating, but of course we need like 100 million more guns. We just need 100 million more small arms to suddenly so we could all act like we're all gonna fight the U.S. military, and I don't know, they're gonna try a bunch of diarrhea from a bunch of tiny-brained morons. Look, I'm a gun advocate. I think people should. I have guns. I have guns in here, but the ridiculousness that we're at right now with, they interviewed the guy that sold this kid the guns. He's 18. And they sold him guns on his 18th birthday. Well, everything seemed fine. Everything checked out. I'm like, okay, this is the best that we can do. Okay, great. Now there's a whole city that's ruined, Yeah, it's brutal.
Oh, Cody says everyone in the United States makes an equal sacrifice in order to submit their vote. There are laws in place that ensure none is discriminated against due to their financial situation. Yeah, it's called the Constitution and the amendments to the Constitution, and the fact that there's not supposed to be a poll tax, that's written into our Constitution, one of the amendments. I think it's the 14th Amendment. But, that doesn't matter to somebody who's in a privileged position that can just drive over to their polling station, take days off from work, and do all that kind of stuff. But, of course, Christmas is a federal paid holiday. Christmas Eve is a federal paid holiday. Memorial Day is a paid holiday. 4th of July is a paid holiday. We have all these federal holidays, and none of them are to actually show pride within our own country and go vote and express ourselves as citizens. None of those paid holidays or for voting. We got to do those all on some weird random day in the middle of
Generally
the work
religion-based.
in the middle of the work week, you know, and not to mention like if you're the breadwinner in the family, you got to take a day off from work. What does your wife do when she's got to go vote? So maybe she's home with the kids or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This Cody kid's just a tiny brain troll, just trying to troll. More guns equals less crime. Yeah. Oh, clearly. Yeah, obviously. Not to mention, I don't know. Am I talking to somebody in Australia who inflicted a bunch of gun regulations? And have you guys had a bunch of massacres since then? Have you had a bunch
Only
of mass
one.
shootings? Have you had a bunch of
One,
mass
I think.
shootings when you try to go to a country western show in Las Vegas where some psycho sets up in a hotel and just guns down the whole crowd? Just have you had that? Have you had that since you inflicted the gun laws or since you instituted the gun laws in Australia? Is there like a lack of ability to go hunting in Australia? You just can't go
No.
hunting now? It's
No.
against the rules, I guess. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. It's stupid.
Very, very heavily regulated, and it seems to be working well.
Yeah.
But you know, there's still gun violence here, but obviously nowhere in the reaches of the numbers over there.
Right.
C23, how are you, brother? But yeah, I think we've only had one.
These sacrifices
shooting.
for voting are meager compared to sacrifices in other countries. Do you mean like in Australia where they everybody's registered to vote and you guys have a smooth voting system in which the votes are tabulated like the next day? Or like what, France where everyone's registered to vote, they have a simple voting system, the votes are tabulated within like 48-hour period, everything's figured out by then, it's all done? Or what about like, I don't know, the UK or Germany? Or where's your example from? You know,
We actually had we had one of our fastest counts for a long time because they eased up the regulations on pre-polling. It used to be very, very strict to either apply for a postal vote like you do,
right,
or voting before actual election day. They
right,
they eased up because it was very, very strict on what you needed to be or be doing to qualify for pre-poll. This year they've eased up on it,
right.
and I think they said nearly half the country, well, maybe it wasn't that much, but there was a hell of a lot of people that voted before time. So
Right.
a shit ton of them.
Just to send it in and get it done.
Well,
ahead of time. I mean, we know.
They open
know.
polling booths early
Like-
in certain spots.
Oh
so
yeah. Like I
just go in
can't
and do it like normal.
I can't imagine that there isn't somebody out there. There is some guy or gal or whatever who's like, I'm not sure who I'm going to vote for. I'm going to make my mind up when I walk in there. Like what? I'm sure that person exists, and you could probably like use them as an example, but that's not. I don't think that's the norm. You know.
I think it must happen a lot because it's one of the things that pisses me off the most about election time is when you go to the polling booth to vote.
Mhm.
There's representatives for all the candidates there, and they've got pieces of paper that have this is how to arrange your numbers on your ballot paper to vote for us.
Right.
And it's just such a phenomenal waste of paper. But there are a lot of people who are just clueless about who they want to vote for and stuff. So they kind of need.
Oh,
They need.
yeah.
Need
They send us the pamphlet weeks and weeks ahead of time, so you can read about every candidate that's running for every position. And sometimes they even have candidates that are added on late. And when I say added on late, like they're in there on time to make it into the pamphlet, but all their information wasn't put in there. So they'll just throw up that stuff on a website so you can go look at it and find out like who this weirdo is that showing up late kind of deal, you know. Which it's always like I'm not voting for that guy, you know. I don't know who this dude is, but I think there's a reason why they showed up late. Yeah, Mickham has a good point. You can't compare non-democratic countries. That's why they are not called democratic countries. I know, it's like try the Middle East. Like, oh, so you want to compare the United States to the Middle East in comparison to like, oh, okay, why don't you just compare Peru and the United States? Why don't you just compare I don't know, Vietnam in the United. You know what I mean? It's like take a first world country, compare it to the United States. We're a first world country. How about Japan? How about Germany? How about pick a first world country that's like and make a comparison, right? The United States is the only like fractured voting system that doesn't operate like any other country. Basically, we're the only one that has every single state does some different wacky thing,
And you're just still stuck to the antiquated system, aren't you? You haven't changed it. Whereas I think
it's not so
been a
much
lot of
that
changes.
it's not so much that we're stuck to the antiquated system. It's that our states sort of the federal government's the umbrella and the states all operate, right? That's basically how it works. Like the federal government can put federal law in place, whether or not it could be constitutional or not. It could be argued in front of the Supreme Court. You definitely could do that, but the states handle their own state elections, right? So yeah. U.S. is best. Okay, yeah. Well, I don't know. You can't talk with somebody who's just so drunk on his own supply of
Jingoism.
American propaganda that the United States is the best at everything. Like we're not the best in healthcare. We're not the best in education. We're not the best in economic mobility. We're not the best in come on. Like this is ridiculous. I see these idiots driving down the freeway every day. They got a bunch of American flags hanging off their truck that break off and litter the road that they supposedly love so much, that the deep passion that they have for the United States to litter all over the place. Whatever. It's ridiculous.
America's good at sports and making movies and making whiskey.
That's true.
My favorite whiskeys are Americans. Well, not all of them. My favorite two.
We didn't even invent that. We didn't invent whiskey.
Just modified it, changed it a bit, fiddled around. Oh, it seems to government healthcare seems to work pretty well down here.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird how everyone has access to your healthcare and it works just fine, right?
We have a private health system as well, which if you can afford the private stuff, then you can get stuff done quicker. But if you don't have emergency stuff that needs, if you've got emergency stuff that needs dire attention, you'll get through the public system quick enough.
Right.
But, you've got to be on the private to get your liposuction or your rhinoplasty done quick smart.
I know you need your nose job done next week. Yeah.
So, yeah, but, apart from that, it works quite well.
Yeah.
We do. Nowadays, we do.
Well, it's a weird thing. Like, if you sit around in the United States and you listen to Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro and all these whack jobs, they'll sit there and tell you that Australia's healthcare is ruined. People are just dying all the time, and you have to wait. You have to wait 16 years to get your knee replaced and all this like crazy nonsense that they just make up, right? They don't have any actual examples. They don't even have any anecdotal interviews with anybody from any of the countries that they talk about. It's like, you have two elderly parents that you help take care of that need a lot of care, right? Do you feel like they're being neglected by the Australian healthcare system?
Most definitely not.
Right.
They get money each month, and the government pays me to look after them.
Right. You have three boys, right?
5 actually, but
okay, 5. Sorry,
three that live with down the street from me, and 2 that live in Melbourne.
Right. So you have 5 kids. Do you feel like they're being neglected by the Australian healthcare system?
Negative.
Right. You feel like their health outcomes have been pretty solid.
Yes, 2 of my older sons have, they've got medical issues and they're getting sorted out and stuff.
Right.
they do obviously have to pay for visits to certain doctors and whatnot. It used to be the case that you'd go to your medical practitioner and it would be free of charge also just to go to the for a doctor's visit. Now you do have to pay, but you get whatever you pay, you get a certain amount of that back through Medicare. And pensioners generally don't get charged at the doctors. Pardon me.
Right.
So yeah, it's sure it's got its drawbacks and flaws and stuff, but it's funny you raised the knee replacement one. My dad had 3 knee replacements done over 8 or 9 years, so there's not a lot of waiting involved in there.
Right.
All the same knee too. It's not like he's got 3 knees.
Right. It'd be cool. It'd be cool if you did. He could probably run faster. Cody says, I don't think you should pay taxes into a system that you don't agree with where the taxes go to. You'd first have to have a basic understanding as to where your taxes actually do go. That's your starting point. Your starting point would have to be you have a full, knowledgeable understanding of where your taxes go and how those expenditures will affect you down the line, right? And a good example of that would be, let's say we no longer subsidize food in the United States. So suddenly we only do 60% of the food production that we do now, because the subsidies that are upholding our agricultural systems in the United States just go away. Suddenly, milk is $16 a gallon because there's a shortage of milk. There'll be a shortage of bread. There'll be a shortage of meat. Suddenly, prices will skyrocket. Now, somebody who's in a good financial position will be probably inconvenienced by this. But you really, really, really got to start to ask yourself the question, how desperate are those 40% of the population going to be once there's no food for them? Right? We have to have a real basic conversation about the fact that there's, I think, 500 or 600 million guns in this country, right? And if you want to start to implement these systems where we just allow corporations to run rampant, extract money from everybody, decrease production so they can raise prices and continue to profit more and more, how desperate are those people going to be with 600 million guns lying around? How's that going to go? How's that going to look? You're going to go,
Steve.
Oh, well, I didn't want to pay 7% sales tax on the stuff I was buying, and now there's a bunch of starving people with guns knocking on my door. Can I pay the sales tax now? I'm like, no, you can't. And if you want an example of that, you would just have to look back to about 50 years ago in China, when the starving roves of people at certain points, there were groups of up to 10 million people going city to city, basically ransacking the cities to find food to eat. Just starving people, just starving, desperate people walking to go find food, So to be like, oh, the thing you just brought up that's so crazy. That's so wild. It's like, no, there's a modern day contemporary example of it if you go look it up and read a book, right? And so one of the reasons why I'm an advocate for proper taxation and proper implementation of our community, right? Because our community writ large is the United States. We have a community of like 340 million people, plus probably 10 million people that are on, like, not in the count, right? That's our community, right? Is the whole United States. And if parts of the United States fall apart, we all have to somehow show up and figure it out for them, or what? Just ignore them, I guess, or whatever, like I've met tons and tons of people in the States that just totally ignore everyone else around them. They don't care, and I think there's a real problem with that. And more often than not, when I meet those people, those are the people that have lived in the same town their whole life. They've just done the same thing their whole life. They've never gone anywhere. They've never met anybody. They don't know anybody. And it's unfortunate. And I would encourage them to get out of, their bubble in Omaha or wherever they are. Travel around, meet some people, and learn some other cultures, because it will probably shine a lot of light on something that you probably haven't been exposed to. America leads the world in check this out. America leads the world in only 3 categories: number of incarcerated citizens per capita, number of adults who believe angels are real, and the defense spending. Which, it's pretty true. I always, it was funny. I got in a debate a little while ago with somebody who they were trying to debate their theism, because I'm a secular guy, right? Like I don't believe in your weird religions or God or any of that stuff.
Angels.
And they go like, God is omnipotent. It's like, oh, he knows everything. Okay, he's all powerful too. He created everything. He did everything. And you go like, well, then why doesn't he? He or she or whatever you think it is, I guess. Why wouldn't they just come down here and do stuff? Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they just be like, oh, hey, I'm God. What's up, everyone? Let's get it together. What's up? Oh yeah, I'm everywhere right now. I'm just doing this. I'm telling everybody I'm God because what's up. You're like, well, why would they not?
They've always got a comeback for that one, though.
What? That's mysterious.
I don't know what the comeback is.
It's mysterious, right? You're like,
those
it's all powerful. What would affect all powerful, all knowing everything, right? Like, oh no, all the people know. Like, would that have anything to do with anything? You're all powerful and all knowing and everything. Why would that matter?
G'day, Holly. How's
would
it
it
going?
like? So would this God's power be reduced somehow if everyone knew it was real? It wouldn't like be a power reduction or something, or would they end up in jail? Would they end up in jail?
Impossible. They're omnipotent.
I was like, would they end up in jail? Would God end up in jail if they revealed themselves to the humans?
Because
is that what would happen? I don't know.
All the crimes that they've enabled.
Right.
About 8 years ago down here.
Childhood leukemia. Like, why is that? Why is that a thing? What are we doing here? Is that it?
About 8 years ago down here, they started to increase tax on smoking products, cigarettes and whatnot. And they stated quite clearly that this taxation would go into the healthcare system,
right?
And it wouldn't just be a one-off tax raise. So they incrementally over the last 8 years have continued to raise that tax. So where maybe 7 or 8 years ago, I was paying $16 for 25 gram, just under an ounce of tobacco. Now I pay over $50, but all of that extra money should effectively be going into the health system, considering there's a lot of smoking related illness that puts a fairly heavy strain on
I mean, that's the reality. And like in the United States, there was a big lawsuit against the tobacco companies, and the tobacco companies lost, and they were forced to pay this, like at the time seemed like a huge settlement, but the reality is like, everyone in the States is paying for the essentially tobacco taking advantage of everybody, like for 100 years, basically.
Is it not then unfair to consider that they should do a similar thing for McDonald's and KFCs and Burger Kings and all that stuff?
You know what? I think
related illness is a big down here as well.
I actually was one of my subscribers was arguing with me a little bit, in just kind of a friendly way. He's kind of a tinfoil hat guy, but hey, I like him, and I like all sorts of people. I like almost everybody, and So we kind of going back and forth a little bit about what's the deal with the plastics and the food and this and that. And I was like, yeah, just post the studies. I just want to read them. And so if reading some of the studies and the things, and something that I've advocated for a long time is reform to our processed foods, and the European Union is probably the best example to point to of going, hey, here's a bunch of stuff you can't put in food. And they're like, but it's fine. And they're like, yeah, we don't know that it's fine. You just started using this new chemical 6 months ago. We have no long-term studies. Whether it's fine or not, we don't know what that is yet. So you better keep testing it and come back with more evidence to say it's okay. Or the other side of it is that you got to tax that stuff into oblivion so they stop putting all this crap into chicken. You can't maintain the level of processed foods that we're putting out there and then expect the population to maintain any levity of health. The United States population is a perfect example of that, with how much obesity we have. And I can even say that for the last 2 months with the moving and everything, like we've been not eating our normal, we make dinner every night, that kind of stuff. And it's like, I probably gained 10 pounds over the last 2 months because we've just been eating out, and we've had to eat out, and we've had to take out and all that kind of crap. And it's like, man, just from an anecdotal standpoint of dealing with the move and all that stuff, it's like, oh man, I'm putting on some weight here. I gotta spinach up, bro. I gotta do some Popeye over here, and because you don't know what you're eating, and you're just a person who's like, I want to have a chicken sandwich, right? Or I want to have some food because I'm hungry, and this is gonna take 10 minutes of time to go over there, get it, eat it, and then screw off, right? And I think realistically, the mechanism that we have as a population is to tax those companies on those specific ingredients that they're putting into the food. And most of it has to do with just pure sugar, pure fat. And then in the process, the processing that food goes through is immense. I've seen it in person. I haven't just seen it on a documentary. I've literally gone to the factory floors. I've butchered animals. You guys know, most people that watch me for a long time, I'm a classically trained chef. I worked in industrial kitchens for years and years and years. So I've literally seen it and seen what people are eating. And the reality is, like, people will get healthier, and this is the diet that you should follow. If you don't know what it is, don't eat it. Make your own food and you'll be fine. That's it. The reality is that, like, baking a cake is a pain in the ass, and you might do it once a week, right? Making ice cream is a pain in the ass, and you might do it once a week. Making chocolate is a pain in the ass, and you might do it once a week, but you sure as hell aren't doing it every single day. But
Yeah, sure.
I could literally eat chocolate, cake, and ice cream 3 meals a day if I wanted to. It's just right over there, and so, like, I experimented with being vegan for 5 years to see what that was like. It's not something I would recommend for the average person. It's not something that's easy to maintain. It is very difficult to get protein and fat and maintain yourself having the proper nutrition. It's not a good idea. I don't recommend it to the average person because it is crazy difficult. And more often than not, most vegans nowadays are eating, guess what? Processed food that is just emulating meat food.
Protein.
It's like, oh, here's fake bacon, here's fake chicken nuggets, here's fake meat burger, that kind of stuff. So, like I said, if there's one diet, if you don't know what it is, you don't eat it. And make your own food, and you'll be like what's his name who plays Thor, the Hemsworth guys. You'll look like that, or Natalie Portman, or whatever. You'll look like one of those Thor people. You know, one of the Thors, whichever one you like. You want to look like Natalie? You could do that. You want to look like Chris, I don't know. How do you say his name? Christopher? Am I saying that right?
Who's Christopher?
Christopher
Oh, you talk Hemsworth.
Hemsworth. Those
Yeah,
crazy
I was
Aussies.
listening to Gabris's podcast this morning. John Gabris, High and Mighty, funny show.
I gotta tell you, I don't want to be excited for the Thor, but I am, dude. Okay, you were listening to Chris Hayes.
John Gabris.
John
I don't know if
Gabris.
you know. Don't know
No,
if
I
you know
don't.
him, but
I'm
very,
learning.
very, very funny guy.
Right.
He pops up on Comedy Bang Bang from time to time, but he's got a
Okay.
G'day Gaffer.
Okay.
He's got his own podcast called High and Mighty. He's a very intelligent man, but he was talking about when the COVID started, how he was one of these people that actually lost weight because of pretty much what you were saying before. He used to eat out a lot,
Right.
so started cooking his own food at home, and then all of a sudden, you're eating one course meals instead of having an entree and a main, or a starter and an entree, as Americans would call them.
Yep.
How come Americans call the main meal the entree?
It's the entree. That's the main meal.
No, it's the entry.
Appetizer.
It's the entry into your meal. The entree is your appetizer, your starter.
No, that's the aperitif, right?
No, aperitif is a drink, an alcoholic drink before dinner.
Yeah.
To prepare the guts. G'day, T-Bones.
Yeah, you have the aperitif at the beginning with the appetizer.
Yeah, we call them entrees down here.
It's
your
stupid.
starters.
It's the stupid French took Chinese culinary tradition and then put a bunch of stupid French names on it. That's all it is. I mean, but you can't expect the French to really understand what they're translating from Mandarin, So, they don't have a deep respect for other cultures anyhow. They just steal all their techniques and then write a stupid book about how we invented this. And you're like, really? You did not. And they're like, no, we did. We made this. We made orange chicken. We made that. And you're like,
oh, I haven't had orange
Are you
chicken
sure?
for a while. That stuff's good.
Are you sure? Are you sure you came up with roast duck? Was that you? Was that you? Or was it these guys over here on the other side? Like, I don't know, 1,000 years before you were even born? Is that what's going on? Oh, no, but we wrote the book. We wrote a book. And then
many oranges on the orange tree at the moment. I might have to do an orange chicken.
À l'orange. You have an orange tree?
Yeah, right there.
Like
it's
a
got
boss.
stacks on it.
That's dope, dude. I wish actually, let me step back. Used to have an orange tree, never got a good orange out of it because it's not. We don't got the weather, bro. Can't do it.
Right. We used to have a Valencia orange out that way. This one here is a Naval Orange, and beside where the old Valencia orange tree was, they were pretty terrible oranges on that tree. There's a mandarin tree out there. You know mandarins? You call them something different, don't you?
No, we have mandarins. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
We just pronounce it like more nasally.
Beautiful mandarins come off that tree, and beautiful navel oranges come off this tree. I think the crop is so heavy this year because I did give it a good pruning last year after the season. So, there was a lot less leaves and stuff for the roots to feed so they could focus on the fruit. And I did the same with the mandarin tree, but it's still very tall.
Huawei with the CKY quote. That's strong. That is strong. I partied with those guys a bunch of times. Got
What's
kicked
CKY?
out. Yeah, I got 86'd out of the off ramp with CKY.
I don't know what CKY is.
It's a band. You'd probably like them. You got some strong jams. You'd like them. They're what is it? They have like a good album that was like their first one. You would like it. It's a good listen all the way through. All the tracks are good.
Can you not? You should be able to manually pollinate if you've got the patience holly.
Yeah,
no,
you can manually pollinate, but you got to be bored, I think, really.
But yeah, I think she might be right though. I think you need pollen from another specimen. You can't just use pollen off the one you've got. Maybe. I'm not sure about nectarines. I'm not a huge stone fruit fan, so I couldn't.
It's hard to say because we never,
Okay.
I never really did anything for the nectarine trees. They just produced, but we had beehives. So, well,
They were
not we,
probably
but our
helping it.
neighbor had a bunch of beehives. So it was like everything was getting pollinated. But this was over, other side of the mountain. You could grow nectarines here. I just don't like them that much to bring a tree to fruition. That's a long. What are they? Stone fruit. So probably 7 years, 6 years before it really
Roughly.
does anything. Yeah.
Yeah, and you gotta prune them back and stuff to really encourage growth and then fruiting and whatnot.
My mom
Yeah.
my mom has a nectarine tree on the other side of the mountain, so she shows up with a buttload of macerated nectarines. She like pits them and then like cooks them. You know what I'm talking about? It's not
Yeah.
like jam or preserves, but it's just like
Stewed.
reduced. It's like reduced. Yeah, it's like stew. So it's like
That's
ready to
that's
make
the word.
jam.
Yeah, it's stewed fruit.
Yeah,
You boil it up with a shit ton of sugar and reduce it down, and then you've got stuff that'll last for ages.
well, yeah, but then you take that and you make preserves out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Gaffer coming through with the definitions down here.
Yeah.
Not sure if
Aperitif
that's
is the drink you have with the appetizer. Yeah. Appetizer is the finger food. That's what I'm saying. Like, Americans are going to have all that. They're going to have all those parts. All of the parts, the soup, the salad, the appetizer, the aperitif. They're going to have dessert, probably 2 desserts. I tell you what, we went to a restaurant the other day, and because just out of desperation, like we just did not have time. We had Olivia with us, and it was like her bedtime is supposed to be 8:15, 8:30 now. It's kind of pushing back. It used to be 8 o'clock. But it was like it's just after 7 and we're at the hardware store, and it's like we have got to get food into this baby, before the meltdown, right? Before she just like starts getting irrational, and like, oh my God. When they start to get that look, like
1,000-mile stare, 1,000-yard stare.
Guys, there was did you guys, they'll start telling you stories a little bit, they start telling you stories and you're like, oh my God, we got to put food in this thing. We got to put food in this child.
It's the hunger talking.
About the Mogwai is about to turn into a gremlin. And so we went there anyhow. And the food was whatever, I think I had a burger or something. I don't know what I had, just nothing of note. It was so bad. It was so blasé. I don't even remember what I had. But we decided, let's get a dessert, right? Because Vicky was wanting a dessert, which is kind of rare for us. We don't normally like get dessert while we're out. And she goes like, oh, that mud pie thing sounds good. It's like an ice cream cake. And you're like, okay, yeah, that sounds fine. It comes out and it's literally like, it's like this big. Like this giant mountain of, I was like, what? We kind of ate on it a little bit. And it was like, there's 5 more desserts. We got to go. We just have to leave. Like, it's just.
What did you call it? A mud pie? Is it just all like mousse and ice cream and shit?
Oh my God, it was insane. It had like Oreo cookies and coffee ice cream and chocolate with more chocolate sauce and whipped cream all over it and caramel and some other stuff. You're just like, gee, oh my God, I'm going to die. I have diabetes now. I need to leave. Yeah, it was rough, dude. But yeah, it's stuff like that where you just go like, you could have brought me a small cup of ice cream with a cookie stuck in the top of it. And I would have been like, oh, rad. And I would have eaten it and been like, cool. But you just brought me like an obscene amount of food, and we just wasted a ton of food because I don't know who could eat that much sugar.
I found this absolutely glorious caramel butterscotch sauce the other day, or a couple of weeks ago now. And yeah, the first couple of nights I had some ice cream with it on it, and it's just so rich and lovely. But now I ration it because that stuff's it's like gold. But yeah, it's gonna just eating half a bowl of ice cream with that stuff on it's gonna add a kilo of weight to me. So I've eased back on that. Even as lovely as it is, you've got to ration out the loveliness. You can't just eat it all at once.
Yeah. Well, hey man, I'm up here in my new house, dude. What do you think?
How is it? Well, it's all gone black now, so I can't really tell.
The darkness has set in. Yeah. Dude, we're liking it, man. We're liking it so far.
And is it? I think I might have asked you before, but it's closer to your workplace now, isn't it? Like 30 miles closer or something.
I mean, I'm definitely closer to work. It's like the first day that we slept here. I got up at my regular time. I got showered. I packed my lunch, put stuff in my truck, hopped in my truck, drove off. Right. I got to the electrical parts house. Right. I got there an hour and 45 minutes before they opened. Right? Like I drove into their parking lot to go buy some conduit. I drove in their parking lot. I'm like, oh, it's kind of dark. That's weird. Like the parking lot lights weren't even on. They were like just like we're not open. I just drove in there because I knew where I was going. I pull up. Oh, it's dark in there. Okay. What's going on here? So I walk over to the door, look at my clock, like, oh, well, they're not even open for like an hour and 45 minutes. Okay, I'm kind of early, dude. Kind of early.
What'd you do? Have a nap or go home?
I just went to work. I just,
come back for the conduit later.
I went to a coffee shop, grabbed a cup of coffee, and drove into work. And I open up the job site, so it didn't matter. I was just there early. But yeah, that's how much different it is. It's a lot of it is not so much the miles. I mean, the miles kind of suck because there's a lot of wear and tear on my truck. But
if you find
it's the drive time. What's that?
I said if Pam finds that video, pop up a link. I have a feeling that I may have seen it, but I can't be too sure. But if you go looking for it, Pam, sling us a link. Your mod.
Which video?
Australia's Deadliest Animals song.
Oh, there it is.
Wow, wait, well done. But I'm not in YouTube, so I can't open it and play it. I'll probably get pinged anyway. Is it on a big channel?
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Just like that, kaput. We've got the world's deadliest creatures all over the place. We've got magpies who steal the eyeballs from your face. But at least we don't have AR-15.
Oh.
We've got great white sharks.
What did you say? But at least we don't have rabies.
No, at least we don't have AR-15s.
Right.
That's
finally.
That's definitely the punchline. Yeah, I mean, as far as like the gun debate goes, like I'm a gun advocate. I just honestly think that we need serious reform to how we treat firearms, how we respect firearms, how we engage with them here in this country.
And potentially how you process people's mental acuity prior to obtaining a firearm.
Yep. And that's the big thing is that like, what was his name? Cody earlier was saying that like, I don't want to pay taxes on anything. And we go like, well, we have a mental health care problem here, where we need large institutions in order to take care of large amounts of people. And there's essentially no profit motive to proper mental health care, right? therein lies the problem, is that how are you going to extract money from a homeless person who has nothing and has a mental health problem, a serious mental health problem, right? And you go like, well, it's their mental health problem. It's not my problem. Well, today was a perfect example of, what is it? I think the death toll so far is 18 children, 18 tiny elementary children, and 2 adults so far. I think maybe 3 adults, but you're talking, if it's 3 adults, let's just say it's 20 people, 20 people, right? 20 people's lives, 20 people's families' lives have been ruined today because we have no access to mental health care for millions and millions of Americans, right? And to go like, well, like maybe a charity will take care of it. Okay, well, guess who's not accountable? Charities. Charities aren't accountable for their inaction, right? If they don't do something, they're not. Does the priest lose his church because he just doesn't do a charity event? No, of course they don't. Why would they? They're a charity. Why would we punish a charity for failing to do the thing that they said that they were going to do? Probably have a million reasons to do it. In the 1980s, Reagan effectively closed all of the mental institutions in the United States. They used to call them, what did they used to call them?
Asylums,
Asylums, loony bins, mental health care facilities that were federally sanatoriums, all that stuff was all officially struck down by your boy Ronnie Reagan. That really was the nail in the coffin for healthcare for these people. And all of a sudden there was this huge homeless population, like, oh my God, what? And crime rate continued to skyrocket up until 1993 when the big crime bill went into effect, and we decided to start recruiting all of our police officers from the military. And then we wonder why the police officers drive around and act like they're soldiers in a war game. It's an issue.
Ad. No one heard it anyway, did they? I just had ad.
You had an ad
on my
mobile. What should we buy? A Hyundai?
It's bloody. What's it called? This freaking university cryptocurrency. What's it called? I can't even remember now, and I'm on it every freaking day.
Oh, I don't know.
Made by one of the universities. P-I.
Right.
Got in on the ground floor where it cost me nothing.
So,
knows what stuff's worth.
As illustrated before, it says, if you're generous enough to provide to charity, please do. If you're not generous enough to provide to aid, you shouldn't. Okay. As illustrated before, those children in that elementary school had no vote in the fact that they got gunned down today by somebody who clearly was insane. Now, that person is also dead, so we can't even find out just how crazy they were or why they were crazy, because they were gunned down by the police, right? If we cannot operate through collective action, by the way, collective action means everybody pays a tiny bit into the pot, right? Not one supposed generous person like, I don't know what, Elon Musk or Bill Gates, whichever one you want to pick, is supposed to come in and solve the problem. Elon Musk came to the UN Security Council and said, I'll pay for it if you give me an actual bullet point breakdown. I'll solve hunger. I'll pay for it if you guys give me the report on how that's going to go down. They came back to him and they said, here's the report. Here you go. And he said, oh, never mind. I was just kidding. Walked away. Right. So first off, how do we get all of our time back? How do we get all of our time back from the UN Security Council going to do that breakdown? Who pays for that? Elon Musk doesn't pay for it. Right. Because philanthropy is a joke. All right. Philanthropy is not real. You might as well be hoping that the leprechaun from Lucky Charms comes and solves your problems for you. It's not going to happen. If you think that some charity function is just going to come in and fix things for you, it's not. It's not going to
Most of
happen,
them they've already got enough things to spend their money
right?
on. G'day, GRB and Alex. How are you guys?
You know, there was a big expose on the Susan G. Komen Foundation, which has been collecting money for years and years for breast cancer. It turns out 94% of the money that they collect goes to operating the Susan G. Komen Foundation, right? So 6% of the money they collect goes to the charity that they're supposedly collecting for. I don't trust charities. I don't think that they're
Well, that's
I don't trust them. I don't trust them without an actual breakdown of what the hell they're doing.
What they're paying their
Right.
their CEOs and their board of directors and whatnot.
Right.
That's where all the money goes, into the wages of these people who claim they're doing awesome things for people, but
and
they're also taking big checks.
And that's the reality. Like, we have all sorts of charities operating in the United States, and what are they actually doing? If charities actually worked, they would have solved the problem by now, right? What problem have they
we have
solved?
our government has been
Have the
reasonably
charities
good.
gotten all the homeless people off the street?
Our government's been really good at setting up comparison websites, like if you want to get better rates on your electricity bill, or if you want to find the cheapest petrol in your area, the government's setting up all these websites. And I believe it was the government who set one up about charities that did the breakdowns of, which charities invest most of their donations into the actual charitable thing that they're trying to support, instead of, like you say, operating costs and whatnot. Because a lot of them, most of their money just goes into salaries and all that nonsense.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, the reality is that the reality is that we have nothing if it isn't for collective action. Okay, like, the United States military doesn't get to do anything if we don't have collective action, right? The United States military doesn't get to operate anymore if we don't have collective action. The highway system in the United States doesn't get to operate anymore if we don't have collective action. The power grid doesn't get to exist anymore if we don't have collective action. Drinking water that comes out, and the sewer where your turds go down and get processed and not just thrown out into the middle of the street, or clog the rivers to the point where the dams get overflowed with human feces, which, by the way, used to happen in the United States. And I would implore you to go look that up. I would implore you to go look up human feces clogging rivers in the United States, because that used to happen on the regular. Now, without collective action, none of these things will happen, right? If we leave things up to the individual, like is somehow touted to be the most important thing in the United States, is individual freedom, my individual freedom. No, that's that's constantly beat into your head in the United States from age 1 up until you die, is that your individual freedoms are paramount. They're the only thing that really matter. It's the only thing. In the meantime, you just ignore every single thing that is happening around you. Just blindly, blankly, 1,000-yard stare at everything that's happening and go, I'm the victim of taxation. When 99 times out of 100, people that I have had long discussions with can't even tell me how much they paid in taxes last year, because they don't even know. Right? You have no clue. Did you pay sales tax? How much did you pay for health insurance? How much did you pay in federal tax? How much did you pay in state tax? How much did you pay in fuel tax? How much? People don't even know. I itemize all of my taxes at the end of the year. I itemize every single thing I buy. I itemize every payment I make. I go through all my taxes. I know what I paid. And I look at it at the end of the year and go, that's fine. You know why? Because I worked hard. I made some money. I paid my bills. I saved some money. I invest some money. And I put some money away for my kids so my kid can go to school. Do I hope that what I'm doing is going to work out well? Because, traditionally, like, I'm looking towards doing good outcomes in life. And if I kind of do these steps, generally things are going to work out. Sure. But everyone in the United States is a small health scare from a serious problem. And I can tell you, I've had multiple times where I've spent multiple weeks in the hospital, collapsed lung. Look, one of the times was collapsed lungs, liver infection, kidney infection, bunch of other stuff. And that bill was $68,000 plus the other stuff, right? So I don't know anybody out there who can miss a month and a half, 2 months of work and pay a $70,000 bill and just be like, that's fine, and move on, right? And that's, was affected by outside things outside of my control. Things outside of my control was affected that. But if you haven't experienced things and you just go like, I don't care about anybody else around me or whatever, that's realistically where you end up, is going like, taxation is theft, right? And I'm always interested to hear from everybody's point of view, realistically. Oh, I think there's some thunder tonight.
Wow, we don't even get thunder with our rain in the last couple of months. It's just clouds and rain.
We've been at last couple of days. We've been having some thunder and lightning.
Very, very frightening. I know it's thunderbolt and lightning.
Thunderbolt and lightning, very, very frightening me. Galileo.
I was trying to bring out my inner Scott Aukerman, but it didn't quite work.
Dude, are you excited for Thor?
No.
No?
Should I?
I have to admit, I'm like, in a very cheeky way, I'm excited for it. I'm like, I don't know, man.
Is it going straight to Disney, or is it we got to sit through some cinema release nonsense first?
It said it was only cinema, only in theaters, but I don't know what that means anymore. It's like,
yeah, that means they run it for 2 weeks and then stream it.
Yeah, it's one I might actually just go to the theater for.
I haven't been to the cinema for a while. I was thinking about buying a new TV, a bigger TV for my sound system.
Well, we got that big ass TV when did I tell you about that? So like our other TV, like I don't know how long ago this was. It was a while back. But our other TV was like glitching out. Like it was doing weird stuff and it would like not connect. It's like it wouldn't connect to the Wi-Fi and it was doing all this weird stuff. And we were like, oh, darn it, we got to get a new TV. But then we were like, I don't want to spend money on a TV. That's ridiculous. But then one day, Corey, he calls me. He goes, hey, can you stop by over at this office? We got to install a big TV. I got another contractor. You meet him there and put it up. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's fine. Whatever. So I go over there and it's an 83-inch TV, which I don't even know if does the metric system go that high?
Well, yeah. What's 36 inches?
I can't even do the maths.
90 centimeters. What did you say? 83 inch. Hang on, I got to go back to headphones. It's pissing again.
How many inches is 30 centimeters?
Hang on, can't hear you. Now I can hear you.
How many inches is 30 centimeters?
12.
12 inches is 30 centimeters. So,
yeah.
Oh, God, we got to do some math. Fuck it. I'm looking it up.
8 12s is 84, I think. Is that right?
3, 2...
8 12s is 84.
$83 inches in centimeters. 210.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's bigger than 6 foot.
I go like, oh, man, that's a big old TV, right? So we go put that thing up there. And then I go to Corey. I go, look, man, you can't be flexing on everybody with this big ass TV, man. People are going to think you're ridiculous. And he goes, no, dude, I got it from Costco. They're like getting rid of them. Like they marked them way down. And I was like, what? And so I drove over to Costco and I was like, so the TV that we had that was glitching out, we bought like 6 years before for like $1,500. And this 83-inch TV was marked all the way down to $1,399. So it was like $1,400. So we just were like, all right, screw it. We'll just buy that. It's gigantic. It's huge. So like, we haven't really been going to the cinema because it's kind of like just being in the cinema in the living room. So yeah, since then we've been like, I don't know if we need to go to the theater. We have a giant TV.
Yeah, my one is maybe 50-inch or something like that, but it's only like a really cheap brand. So
Right.
sometimes you get this really shitty stuff going on in your picture, like completely dark scene.
Yeah.
People's eyeballs will be just glaringly white, like they've got lights in them.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, and I've tinkered with the brightness and the contrast and the display modes and whatnot, and I just can't get rid of it. So I'm thinking, I just sold a car. Why not go and buy a TV for about $1,500 and, you know, toss the old one away?
Yeah, because Thor came out today, right?
I don't know. I was very disappointed to find out.
Or today was the trailer, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to Thor much. But yeah, I had a strange. For some reason, I thought Obi-Wan was coming out tonight, but it's Friday night.
Yeah, I gotta get that TV set up for that.
Extra 2 days of waiting. But yeah, actually, that's a good point. I could give me time to go and get a telly.
Is
nothing wrong with the sound system.
No, it doesn't come out. Okay, Thor doesn't come out until July, so we're good. So you just have to deal with me talking about being excited about it for the next, I don't know, 3 months or whatever.
Are you talking about the Love and Thunder one?
Yeah.
I thought that was already out.
It's got Natalie Portman in it, dude. Come on, man. What's up with you? What's wrong? What happened?
But is she all muscly and stuff like a Thor? Like a Hemsworth?
Who cares? Does it matter? Seriously.
Yeah. I want to see that chick with muscles.
Well, yeah, why not? That's what I'm saying. Either way, it's fine.
Interesting.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. The Green Earth Alliance, the nonprofit we set up last summer. Our plan is spending on operational costs, just money to research. Okay. I don't know what's going on there. I'm missing a chat. I don't know what's going
on. Jesus. Bit of that. Yeah, I don't know what Alex is talking about.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Maybe if I do a bit of that might happen.
Oh, what happened to my floating? Oh, I used to have a trash can here. Oh. No.
What?
Oh, they moved the trash can to the other side. Okay. Sorry, I'm checking my email.
What about it?
My email was like, "Look at me. You need to look at me. You have emails."
So you're saying
these are all garbage emails. I'm just gonna hit the garbage can on all of those. I don't want to read any of that.
G'day, Patrick. How are you, mate? Long time no see. Oh, thanks.
Okay.
Thanks. I've been growing it for a while. Grew it myself.
What'd you grow? A beard?
My hair.
Oh.
It's been quite a while since I've seen Dragon Lair, so probably hasn't seen me since I've been able to wear it out all of the time. Because when it's in that mid stage, you've just got to tie it up and keep it out the way until it doesn't look shit anymore. I mean, that's kind of debatable as well, but
definitely debatable. That's a debate.
But yeah, it's not how you grow it, it's how you wear it or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Ivan is in Venezuela and can get donations to the people, professors, and PhD students in developing countries, and they can use all the money for taxonomy and then petitioning preservation of habitats.
Right.
So it's a thing that you've been involved in setting up and continuing to manage, Alex. Well, that's another good point. Actually. If
the
you
thing
can't,
is that like everyone can run. So here's the issue: is that in a world where nonprofits exist or not-for-profit nonprofits exist, I don't think that charities should exist. These charitable functions seem to operate sort of out of the realm of any kind of responsibility, and I always my initial impression with anything that says it's a charity is immediate skepticism, mainly for being like how many times getting burned by finding out how much impropriety is going on with a lot of charities and charitable functions and raising money and all this kind of stuff. So I find charities and then I have to do all this like background research and find out where their money's going and look up their documentation, which they oftentimes try to hide because a lot of the tax forms now that you put in, you don't really have to itemize everything. So you can find forms, you can find what they're listing, but there are some years now that you don't have to really list like where money is going and stuff. So it's a real back and forth with these charities, so my thing is always just I'm skeptical, like right out the gate. So
1877 Cars for Kids. How do I even know that one? Who
and
played it?
And also,
mum's house.
after having been on YouTube for like 14 years now, and just having how many like scammy, nasty people I've met through YouTube, it's like I don't know if I really have a lot of trust for very many people at this point at all.
That's a fairly sensible way to operate, though, isn't it? Being a little bit wary of people.
Is it? Yeah, probably.
These days, I reckon everyone's got an axe to grind or their own agenda.
It's true that everyone seems to have an axe to grind. That's very true. Definitely, the fish tube community is that way. That's for sure. I think it has to do with the fact that I think on a global scale, like the online fish community is too small. I think that's the biggest issue, is that like the group is just too small, realistically, when you get down to it. It's like you could find a ton of comic book fans that are like super toxic and crazy and stuff, but the group is so big, it's easy to go like, yeah, this is weird, I'm gonna go over here, whereas the fish community is just not big enough, which admittedly is why my new projects are oriented to trying to get non-fish keepers interested in keeping a tank somewhere.
That's a good goal to have.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there always seems to be some beef or another going on between people in the fish community.
Yeah. One of my new channels, I just call myself a doctor. And then if people ask me about it, I just get all weird and be like, why are you asking me that question? That's not today's topic.
You're talking out of school.
You're out of school. You're out of hand. You're out of pocket. What are you talking about? Yeah, stuff like that.
Check your messages, Alex.
I refuse.
Alex, I said your name's Albatross, not Alex.
I refuse to check Alex's messages.
Dr. Joel Novak. Oh. Oh, the rain stopped again. I can get rid of these head warmers. They do quite. I'm not sure if it's this beanie that I'm wearing or the headphones that make my head a little bit warm.
It's probably the headphones. Oh wow!
I got to go and find
in the
some
headphones.
I got to go and find myself some cigarette papers, so I might as well go and wrestle a crocodile while I'm up.
Uh-oh, he's about to get wild.
You know, feel free to do some shameless self-promotion while I'm gone.
I don't know. Check out my charity. It's called paymyrent.com. I don't know. It's not an internet site. Hold on, I'm getting a message. Y'all get what is going on? What is happening? I'm sorry, I can't show you what was just sent me, but it is legit funny. Am I in the darkest room ever? I just my new office here, it doesn't have I don't have anything set up. I literally had to set up a camera to do this in like 5 minutes. So my lighting sucks. And hold on. Which button do I push? There we go. Here, I'll turn on my metrosexual lighting. Here. There, I turned on my metrosexual lighting for you now. Now you can feel like I'm a real streamer. Which direction is it supposed to be going? Hold on. Oh, sorry, I had top chat turned on. I'll turn on live chat now so I can read everybody's comments.
You're not a real streamer until you've burped 19 times.
That way. This way? That way. I think I had just lined up just right. We got to undid the clamp. There we go. Now my sexy lighting is on. There you go.
Are you like Prince?
Hopefully I appeased your need for me not to be streaming from the void. Is that better? Is it sexy? Is it metro sexy?
I mean, I was a big fan of Prince, so I'm down.
Yeah, me too.
Because he liked it with the blue light.
Huge fan myself. Yeah, if you want to impress the ladies at karaoke, sing some Prince and have some dance moves, it's gonna work out for you. That's what I'm saying.
He was such a tiny dude, wasn't he?
He was a tiny guy. And actually, my friend, who shall remain anonymous, was actually like a super popular stripper in Vegas, like during Prince's heyday, like late 80s, 90s heyday time, you know? And apparently she met him a bunch of times, and she is small, and she's like, he's as small as I am. And you're like, oh my God, he's that small? Like he might classify, you know, as, I don't know what's going on there, but dude is tiny. Oh my God, Dr. Black's in the chat. What happened?
I was responding to Patrick telling me he got a new snake, a juvenile, which I'm assuming is a Morelia bredlii, Morelia spilata bredlii.
Very cool. Very cool. So
my son that keeps snakes, he's got a bredlii, and it's got the most amazing patterning on it, because it's half of the snake is a really dark brown and the other half of the snake is a light brown, but it's got all the mottling that you'd expect on a carpet python. So
to reply to the earlier chat, I know you're going off on snakes. and I love it. I like that you're into snakes. I'm not.
I like it too.
I like snakes. I think they're cool.
It's
I just
been
don't like
such a-
keeping them. It
It's
makes
such
the
a-
house
this is-
smell weird.
oh, yeah, you keep them out of your living area. I just don't tell my son that because he's got 4 enclosures in his bedroom, and his
It's got the
girlfriend's
funk.
finally
It's got a
gotten used
it's
to
got a
it.
funkiness to it. You know.
He's very diligent as a herp keeper though. He's does his regular cleaning and whatnot. So I can honestly say that I can walk into his room and look at the snakes, and his room doesn't smell like when I used to have mine in my lounge room, and I was slack at cleaning it and whatnot. It was definitely a pong, but yeah, his room with 4 in it instead of just 1 never seems to pong. He's really diligent at getting their poops out when they poop and their skins out, changing their water and whatnot. So yeah, he's a much better snake keeper than I ever was. I was too lazy for that nonsense.
Yeah. So earlier in the chat, Alex was the secret history was saying, so I've been trying to find any info on Mr. Novak. Only 8 schools accredit limnology, which he claims to have a PhD in. None of the schools have ever heard of him. Me and a few professors. I checked with every single person, every single expert, every single doctorate, and any school that has an ichthyology program in it, and no one has ever heard of that guy ever. There's no published papers. There's no nothing from that guy at
Who's
all.
he supposed to be?
He's Dr. Kevin Novak. He's a YouTuber who apparently used to go around doing speaking events with his fish content about how he's an expert. He posts himself as a doctor, and I have yet to find anywhere where he's accredited to have acquired a doctorate in anything, let alone anything fish related. I've inquired worldwide to see maybe if he went overseas somewhere, and no one can seem to find anything from the guy, and he won't answer where he's gone. So,
You've
like I
done
was
the
saying-
same investigations that Alex has done.
what's that?
You're saying that you've done similar investigations that Alex has done.
I do not know the extent of what Alex has done, but I went pretty extensive on trying to find out if that guy was accredited at all, and I have not been able to find anything. So if somebody watching knows where that guy is accredited, where he got his PhD or whatever, feel free to let me know. Or Alex, one of us. I would just like to know where the man went to school, because he claims to be a doctor. I've
What
known
did he claim his PhD is in?
claims he's a PhD in limnology and ichthyology, I think.
What's limnology?
You don't know?
No. I know what ichthyology is. You
I'll
don't
get you
know
the
he says,
actual
and then he
definition.
Googles it.
The study of biological, chemical, and physical features of lakes and other bodies of fresh water. There we go. I didn't want to.
Yeah, right.
I didn't want to
should've-
misspeak and say it wrong.
I should have been able to break down the Latin, shouldn't I?
So, I mean, the thing is it's very odd, and nowadays I get about an email a week from somebody going like, because he has he likes to promote anoxic filtration in aquariums, which is fine. Feel free to promote whatever you want to promote. I don't care. But he's laying the claim down as being an accredited doctor, right? So that's ultimately the issue is like, I don't know if I could really trust the information that anybody's giving out if they open up lying. You know what I mean? If the first thing out of their mouth is a lie, what else is a lie?
Yeah.
And I think there are a lot of people that may be getting advice from somebody that might be less than vetted, and it might not have the actual science background that it claims. Anoxic filtration is a way to filter. I do not do anoxic filtration, as about 15 years ago, I did a lot of experiments with it because I heard about it and I thought, wow, that's really cool. Let's try that out. And the thing is, anoxic filtration does work. It's incredibly difficult to pull off for the average person. And that's the reality, is that anoxic filtration is essentially emulating older septic systems for wastewater. If you have anything to do with the septic system, you can find anoxic filtration. Now the thing is, if you go look up any of the newer septic systems that are regularly being researched by actual scientists and doctors and engineers and practitioners and people working on them, and the fact that human waste is so biologically dangerous for people and the environment, I trust the billions of dollars that are going into wastewater treatment as a source for scientific materials in order for me to read. And all of them are utilizing oxygenated systems now, including adding air pumps to septic systems in order to aerate. Because, hey, if you can have one type of biological breakdown in a septic system, how about two types? How about one that uses air and one that doesn't use air? How about both? But promoting the one that utilizes air is much easier for the average person to just have highly oxygenated water and a bacteria source that is growing within the system that you already know, because your water is cycled, because you are testing your water to find out if you are actually operating within a cycled aquarium, right? And it's much easier for people to add some air to your system and filter and just do that, instead of overcomplicating it into something that just really doesn't work as well as an aerated system. But either way, whatever. It is what it is. And an earlier comment, where did I move? I moved up north. I used to live south of Seattle. Now I live up north of Seattle. I can see a mountain over there. That's about all you really need to know. If you get onto my Patreon and start donating like $10,000 a month, I'll send you my address. I'll send you my address. You can come over and hang out. And I guess if you murder me at that point, it's my bad for getting murdered.
But at least there's some money in the bank for the daughter's inheritance.
No refunds. Okay. I have a will. By the way, I have a will that does include my Patreon. So all my assets will not go to you.
I got to
unless you find me gold. I will never tell. I did a while ago. I moved. So we have a bunch of friends and family up in Alaska. And I don't know if you know. I don't know if you've ever met anybody from Alaska. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't.
Not personally.
There are a lot of normal people that live in Alaska. There are also a very high concentration of sort of kooky, nutty people who move to Alaska because they can't exist where there's other people around them. Does that make sense?
Mm.
And so one of our friends up there, who is a fantastic dude, older gentleman, he's a very rad guy. He's a very cool guy. But, he doesn't trust that the bank system. He doesn't trust that the bank system is going to work out. The currency, So
who's this? Sorry, your relative up in Alaska.
He's a fake relative. He's like a fake uncle,
Gotcha.
But he doesn't believe that the currency is really going to hold its value. Real kind of tin hat guy. So everything that he does is in gold and silver. Everything is weighed out in gold and silver. And so he actually sent us a whole bunch of silver for Olivia, as part of the blessing, I guess is the way to put it. And I will tell you, I had to move it a little while ago because of the move. And a big ass brick of silver is fucking heavy, dude. So heavy, stupid heavy. Like
What do
you
they
know when
put
you're
them
like,
into?
you know
Kilo
when you got,
ingots or bigger?
you know when you pick something up and it's real heavy and you're like, I'm fine, it's good, and you get about halfway to where you got to take it to, and you're like, man, a hand cart or a wheelbarrow or something would come in like real handy right now. This is sucking
How
halfway.
freaking big
there.
is this brick?
Yeah,
How big
it's
is
a
it?
lot. It's like a basketball's worth of silver.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. It's in big chunks.
Yeah, I had a mate in Brisbane when I was living up there, and he was a bit of a doomsday prepper.
Yeah,
and he was stashing and hoarding as much silver as he could all over his house. He had it in every little nook and cranny. He had stuff stashed.
yeah. That says, wonder how much it costs to mail. Hey, in the United States, we have the United States Postal Service, baby. Fits in a box, you ship it. It fits, it ships. It fits, it ships. So
Don't they do it by weight?
if it fits in the box, it ships.
You pay for the box size only, do you?
Yep.
Oh,
They're
wow.
like box sizes, and they have a weight limit on them now. But I can tell you, I shipped all sorts of aquascaping stones and stuff like that to people that just literally like basalt in a box. Like, here you go.
Yeah, because we got to pay for our packages as well as whatever weight you're putting in it as well. It gets quite expensive.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you know, I've talked about the United States Postal Service a lot of times. I love the United States Postal Service. I love it to death. I talked to a trucker last week who had a bit of a conversation with him. It seemed like a really good guy. We were just kind of talking about some stuff. And, you know, one of the things that came up was one of the local townships here, the city council passed a thing that if you're sleeping in a tent, they can legally arrest you now. Now they just arrest you and put you in jail, which makes fucking no sense because you're just arresting people for being alive, essentially, at that point. Like, you've crossed the line into, oh, you're alive, so now you're arrested. Like, what? Okay. This seems like a great use of time and energy from everybody. But we were talking about it, and he was, you know, he got into the Black Lives Matter and like defund the police and blah, 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 and that kind of stuff. He's like, oh, everyone's going crazy for that. And they go like, yeah, I mean, you know, you come up with a saying that makes people react, right? Emotionally, because then you get their attention, right? Now, whether I think defund the police or any of that thing is real, I think it's stupid, because what's the point in defunding a program that we all agree we want, which is police officers, right? I just think we need a level of reform that will come to the benefit of everybody involved. And I believe wholeheartedly, if you want to reform certain systems like policing in America, is to expand things like the United States Postal Service, because it's illustrated. People are always going to want packages delivered to their house. That ain't going anywhere. That's not going anywhere. Amazon's not going anywhere. AliExpress isn't going anywhere. None of that stuff is going anywhere. So, what's one of the services that doesn't require a monumental amount of training? Picking up boxes and putting them in a truck doesn't require a whole lot of training, does it? Sorting packages, while physically demanding and probably mentally draining, it doesn't require a whole lot of
Can you read? You're
at this
hired.
point. Well, it's like, can you run the scanner? Beep, beep, beep. That one goes over there. You know, right now, I forget what the actual percentages is, but a giant percentage of our police force is coming from the military, and I think that the military vets if we deem that the military is worthwhile, we really should be taking care of them after they've been deployed, after they've been in the service, and not just saying, "Hey, go get a job as a cop now," And I realistically think expanding the United States Postal Service so that people that, for instance, want to become a police officer, great. You get to be in the United States Postal Service for 2 years. You'll work, 3 days a week as a postal carrier and 2 days a week at training. The postal carrier work will help offset the cost of paying for your police training. It'll put you in a position where you get to learn the neighborhood that you're going to end up being a cop in. You're going to meet some of the people there. You're going to know what's going on. You're also going to be able to show that you can show up to work on time, that you can do these tasks, that you can go around and be a part of the community, as opposed to just 6 months of community courses and some police academy training, and now here's a gun, go drive a car around and catch criminals or whatever. And I realistically think that's that would bridge a lot of the issues that we have right now with the police force. And as illustrated, Punchy Paint says, in Denver, during a spell of sub-zero temperatures, the police were driving around confiscating blankets from homeless people. And I think that anybody that was existing within that community space and knowing what was going on in that area wouldn't show up in a car and just take blankets from poor people while they were trying to sleep in the snow. I mean, I just would not see that. The United States Postal Service, it touches every door in the United States every week. They go to every single location at minimum once a week. Even there's a remote island out in Alaska that only has 113 residents or something like that. The United States Postal Service still goes out there. They only go out once a week because of how crazy remote it is, but they go out every week, drop off everybody's mail, pick up whatever outgoing mail there is, and bring it back. So, do you think that the locals on that island know the postal carrier?
No,
Probably.
postal guy.
Yeah. So it's one of those things that I honestly think, and somebody said, well, what would happen with UPS and FedEx and whatever? It's like, I don't care. I don't. Like, it would be sad if they would go out of business. Like, that's a bummer. And it's sad when businesses go out of business. But hey, the United States Postal Service will take on those unemployed FedEx people, right? Like, and guess what? You'll get a pension when you come over to the post office when you don't get a pension at FedEx.
Yeah, GRB raises a good point. Multitask them. Why not be both?
Well, the thing is, you wouldn't want armed police postal carriers. But as you get more and more trained postal carriers, guess what? Let's say that there's a shooting at a school or something, and a post officer is near there. They could respond quicker because they're already out driving around also. Or let's say let's say that all of our postal carriers get to take paramedics classes, right?
So thanks for hanging out, Mickham. We'll see you next time, dude.
So that all of our postal carriers could take paramedics courses, so they could become certified paramedics, which will give them a pathway to becoming a firefighter, or be a good pathway to getting into going and becoming a medical assistant, or a registered nurse, or a licensed nurse practitioner, or you want to move on to a different field. There's a pathway to move on to another field. Oh, I'm fully paramedic trained. Maybe they want to become a paramedic, right? Maybe we need to get EMTs off the streets and replace them with paramedics that are trained to do things, as opposed to just driving people around that have broken bones and giving them an $800 bill for driving them to the hospital, right? Like, so I think that it's the one service that we all know that we need, that we already currently, that that we already currently subsidize, that currently already has infrastructure, buildings everywhere. They have as many vehicles and planes as the U.S. military does. They maintain them all, right? Like, so, you're talking about a program, and it ain't going anywhere. Like, you just look at Amazon, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I skimmed past an article this morning about that the Australian police are struggling to get numbers because their pay rates are so shit.
Oh, for the police?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that, people aren't considering it as a career like they used to because they're not going to be earning very much money.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, you look at it this way, like when you have somebody providing a service, right? Like police officers, which that is supposed to be a service, serve and protect, right? If they're providing a service and that service has lesser perceived value, right? So is it a possibility that the policing outcomes are not as beneficial to the citizens, so they decide to not pass a levy to increase the pay for the police officers, right? It's one of those issues, right? That maybe the police officers in Australia could do with better training and better enhancement of like whatever it is that they're doing. And I think that would generally be the issue in the US also, that like it's not like there are lots of police officers that make a really good living, but most of them don't, and a lot of it has to do with like you go out, you don't make that much money, and you don't really have like the skill set to really deal with all of the stuff that you run into on a daily basis, and then we're expecting these great outcomes from people that don't have a toolbox to create good outcomes all the time, so Martin says they have to pay $17,000 out of pocket for police training. Yeah, I don't know how much police training is in the U.S. It might be. I don't know how much it is in Australia either. I don't know if they have to pay out of pocket or not.
The way I understood it was 6 or 8 weeks training at a police academy, all expenses paid for, but I'm not 100% certain about that.
Right.
When I left high school, I had a friend who went to the police academy and he never mentioned anything about having to pay for it. But then again, he also did get kicked out after 6 weeks for drugs. It's probably not the best place for that lad.
Probably true. But yeah, it's like, we all agree that, and when I say we all agree, sure, there's somebody out there that refuses to I don't know, acknowledge that they would like a police officer at some point in time to help them if something was going on. Sure, whatever. The exception to the rule generally proves the rule. If you have to find some weird person who's acting out and acting super strange to like be like, well, look, there's the guy over here, he hates all police officers or whatever, right? And you're like, okay, 99% of people, whatever, like so that we all want police officers and we all want good outcomes, and they're typically the first responders that show up to a wide variety of things, a huge variety of things. Chances are if we called 911 because Olivia fell down or something, or I don't know, there's a problem with our child, probably the cops would be the first ones here, right? And if they like don't know how to assist, what's the point in them showing up, right? Like, hey guy, why are you here? I'm just making lots of noise, and is there something for me to shoot? You're like, what? No.
G'day, Steve. Long time no see, mate.
So it's kind of one of those things that I think all police officers should have paramedic training. Like they should be
Absolutely.
paramedics like firemen are, right?
And a little bit of mental counseling kind of training as well.
Right. De-escalation is really
That's a
important.
good word for it.
De-escalation is really important in
Hang
average
on.
police work.
Paddy, before you go to bed, at some stage in the next day or two, send me some. I'm pretty sure I've got you on Facebook. Send me some pictures of your snakes,
Oh yeah.
or if they're on videos on your YouTube channel, just tell me to go and watch a YouTube video or two of your stuff. But I want to see this Bradley eye, and I want to see your Papuans. And good night, mate. Good to see you again. Anyway, what did I interrupt you in the middle of? You can't remember now.
Me? Oh, I was just saying that pretty much everybody agrees that the police officers should have good training. They should have good pay. They should have good ability to, serve and protect. Like we all want that. We all want that. The police officers want that. The citizens want that. Everybody wants that. So we gotta get a little bit creative with how that's going to get implemented, right? Like every fireman has to be a paramedic, right? Why doesn't every police officer have to be a paramedic? You're like, well, we'll just call the fire department if something is doing this thing. You're like, okay, but the police are around the corner. Can they show up and help? Like, well, they don't know how to help with that.
Some shit needs to be dealt with within a minute.
But they're still coming. They're still going to show up, even if they say, "Oh, we're directing the fire department over there." The police are going to drive over. Why is the fire truck going over there? Right? Like, so it's an interesting thing. So, but I think we really need to tackle problems like that. On a bigger scale than just simply going like, well, maybe we just give them another tank. Like we don't need a tank. We need trained people. We need trained humans. Oh,
g'day, Chewy. Look, everyone's been. I've slipped I'm rusty as well. Lonnie, aka Looney Tunes. Everyone's been calling Lonnie Chewy, and now the real Chewy's turned up. Sorry, Lonnie. Sorry. I deeply apologize. I'm so rusty with all my names. And Mexicali Fish Keeper. Are you a first? Is this your first time in here, Mexicali?
Might
Welcome.
be.
Welcome. I hope we haven't.
Oh, hey, man. Hey, as a good point, we got to remind everybody, hey, every single person that's in this chat should be a member on my YouTube channel, right? So I could pay my rent.
Subscribe to mine. I still got no idea where my subscribers are.
I don't even know. What are you at? 1 million? Yeah. You got to get to 1,000 so we could monetize your channel for you.
Yeah, then I got to be careful and stuff. So I don't know if I want that.
Right.
Welcome aboard, Mexicali. It's a privilege to take your cherry or to pop your cherry, whichever word you want. I'm getting so many fruit flies, like actually catching them today. Normally I miss them. They're so bloody dodgy, as in they can duck and weave and get out my bloody hand before I've closed it. We've had fruit fly plague. Oh, and these guys too. I wonder will he sit still and let me take him up to the camera. Ever seen those guys before?
Yeah, GRB has a good point. Are English police still without guns unless special situation? Yeah, actually, they're cops walking around don't have guns, but they have SWAT team and all those dudes that will show up and
they can call the armed guys in when necessary.
Is that like a mosquito? What was that?
I have no idea what they are, but there's a few of them getting around at the moment, and they've got balls of steel, man. They fly right up and land on your face, and they won't move while you're doing this or on the table, and you can swat at them, and they just sit there looking at you.
Weird.
So yeah, taken my fly swat to a couple of them because I'm frightened of them now because they've just got no fear.
Yeah.
G'day, Casval. Long time no see for you too. I keep saying that, but it's like been, what, a month since I've streamed, apart from that late night drunky one with Balzac that stole all of my hours.
Well, I think you were sick one day, and then you were flooded one day, and then something else. I don't know. It's just been wild.
Yeah, there was stuff going on 3 weeks ago, and then 2 weeks ago, I think was the one where I ran out of hours, and last week I think I just felt too crummy, and there was too much nonsense going on. So
yeah,
I gave myself a self-imposed hiatus for a Doona day or a mental health day, whatever you want to call it.
Just to chill.
Yeah, we're trying to find out what those little guys are. They're super weird looking, and they just look like they jump around, but then all of a sudden they fly. That's
I can't wait. I can't wait for Dune Part 2 to come out. I can't wait.
I still haven't seen the first one yet. Is it streaming yet? No, actually, last time I looked it up, it was still $25 or something.
I hate your face. I think it's on HBO Max. I don't know. Isn't it?
I don't know. I don't get HBO Max. Actually, I think I can get HBO Max through Prime, but it'll cost me another $6 or $7 a month.
HBO.
I got MGM. I think it was MGM through Prime, just so I could watch some good old Sergio Leone movies.
Oh yeah. That's worthy. That is worthy.
Yeah, it was. It was definitely worthy to go back and do the Dollars trilogy again.
Hell yeah.
And then I did the Bommy one with the Bommy dude. That was pretty funny too. I can't remember what that was called. And then 2 Mules for Sister Sarah, which everyone thinks is part of the Dollars trilogy, but it's not even a Sergio Leone movie.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Always.
Certainly done in his style, but I don't believe he had anything to do with it. But Clint Eastwood was certainly trying to be the same character. The man with no name. I can identify with that, Casval. I had way too many than I could keep up with. So now I've got, 3 running instead of 9 or 10. But I've also still got 2 of them sitting there in a really ugly condition that I still need to clean filters. I had a power problem. Oh, no, that's right. I had a filter that one of my DIY ones, probably shouldn't say that, when it failed and blocked up and then it overflowed out the top of the filter and went down on all the electronics and stuff, and they did the circuit breaker in the house, and I couldn't work out why the power was out until I saw all this water underneath the fish tanks.
Solid.
And just basically unplugged everything, flicked the safety switch or the circuit breaker, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, haven't done any cleaning. That was probably 7 months ago. I've still got these festy green things sitting there. No mosquitoes in them though. That's kind of like there's stagnant water, not moving.
Yeah.
And I haven't had one single mosquito wriggler in there.
Yeah, I got to I don't have a single fish tank set up right now. It's kind of weird. But I probably sometime next week I'll probably start building the new fish room once Vicky and I sort of get some of these boxes out of here.
Did you slowly get rid of your livestock, or is your livestock stored somewhere?
Nobody wants to hear this, but some of the fish got fed to the chickens. Because I just had a bunch of randos that were kind of left after giving away a bunch of fish. And then Alyssa has all the fish that I want to keep. So she's got my puffer and a bunch of my guppies and stuff like that.
That's right. She's virtually your neighbor, isn't she?
Not anymore. So.
But yeah, the handiest person to have looking after them.
Yeah. Yeah. She's worthy babysitter for sure. So yeah,
I must have fell asleep because I did send her the link, but she hasn't showed up.
Yeah, I don't know. She hasn't been around tonight, so I'm wondering if she was like asleep or something.
Pardon, mate.
Oh man,
Or don't.
Let me see.
Yeah, Casval, sometimes it just, especially if you're an incredibly lazy person like I am, or the extensive maintenance that's required is a little bit overwhelming. My even my 60-meter long hose. Oh, there she is. Speak of the devil. My 60-meter long hose that runs from my water tanks that I do my top ups and refills with has been on the grass in the back paddock for so long because I feed it along the back of the house out in the paddock. It's actually almost impossible to lift up now with all of this rain and mud, and the grass has just grown around it. The hose has become one with the grass. So, but as soon as I step out the back gate, I sink into about 4 inches of mud. So I've got to commit. I've got to commit to getting that fucking hose out of the grass. Mm-hmm. Well, that's absolutely right, Casval. Laziness breeds efficiency. I've always said that.
Yeah.
Well, it's I was about to explain how my 60-meter hose has been put together, and then I realised Pam was talking euphemisms. But yeah, it's a few shorter ones strapped together. I probably could say that about mine too. Hi, Alyssa. It's good to see you. It's sorry to hear that you're poorly. BJ, you didn't miss the discussion about Kenobi. The only discussion was that I thought it started tonight, but it starts Friday night. So I'm disappointed that I've still got an extra 48 hours to wait. Or let's say, what is it? 51 hours to wait, because I think it's 6 o'clock on Friday night. It premieres. And I mean, what else is there to discuss about it? My friend Brett, who has been on this stream before, he was here yesterday, and he was saying a few days ago that he was trying to do an Obi-Wan catch up before Obi-Wan comes out. So I think he said he had 3 books to read and some Clone Wars episodes to do, and then he was thinking about doing the prequel trilogy. I was like, far out, man. You got some work to do before this show comes on. Get to
he's gonna like watch everything or what?
He seemed pretty determined to get it done. I mean, he's a good reader. He'll smash some stuff out in no time. But yeah, it seems like a lot of work to do just to get primed. But you know, it's in his wheelhouse. He cosplays Obi-Wan, so
right.
He's got to go in. He's got to what do you call it? Method it. He's got to method it. He's got to know it inside out. He's got to be it.
He's got to be it. Know what's going on.
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
He's getting a pretty good reputation for his Obi-Wan too.
My alarm is going off. It's like 10 o'clock. I got to go to bed.
Righty, thanks for hanging out. I got to go to the toilet. Something shocking. I've been tapping my legs and slapping my thighs together for about half an hour now, not wanting to get up. But no, this is always an encouragement to get up and go to the toilet. Actually, I've still got to go. I got to go to shops. I can't get fucking drunk. I should probably stop there. Famous last words.
Famous last words. But yeah, it's bedtime, man. It's so good to catch up with you.
It's good.
Let's chat next week if possible or whatever.
Yeah, hopefully nothing too untoward or fucked up happens.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully I'll have my studio set up by then, but I'm in a melange of cords and wires and things everywhere still, so
it's working at least.
But it looks like I had to replace the power source on my computer, and looks like the new one is the trick. I think I was running past my ability for. I had a 750 watt on here, I think I had too much
Too much
Krapinski, on the computer here. So every once in a while, it would just self shut down, like, oh my god, and freak out and just be
Overload
shut
it.
off. So I'm thinking, it looks like I have resolved the issue. So that's good. It's a good sign. I'm glad that I bought that power supply like 2 years ago and never opened it. I just had it
What's
as
that?
a spare. I had 1,000
That-
watt as a spare because the price kept going up. And now you can't even buy one. I don't even know. Let me see. Let me check Amazon. Should I check Amazon and see?
Go on. That'll give me an opportunity to go and do a quick crocodile
All right,
wrestle.
boys and girls. Boys and girls, we got to go into the Amazon. We got to check out a 1,000 watt power supply. Power
supply. Let's see. How much are they right now? $150. Oh my god. Name brand EVGA 100. Ooh, marked down from $200. It's on sale for $150. Yeah, the one I just installed right now is listed at $200. I did not buy it for $200, guys. You guys are getting ripped off, dude. This is the one I picked up, but boy howdy, it's next level expensive, my dudes. Where'd my chat go? I lost my chat. Hold on, there it is. Yeah, here's the one I got. It's up to $200 now. I bought it for $80 like 2 years ago, which is wild. It's wild to think. I wonder if there's like a reasonable one for sale. Okay, go back. This new mouse. It's not a new mouse. It's just a different mouse, and the buttons are in a different weird spot, and I'm not used to it yet.
Mouse
Yeah.
isn't
Oh,
probably used to you either.
here's a Corsair. There's a Corsair one for $144, but that's still double what I paid basically. 'Cause I think I paid like $79 a couple while back, and I quite a while ago, and I just had it in a sealed box. Like I know at some point a power supply is going to be broken, and there ain't nothing like the market going up. But oh, we got good news. We got good news on the front. We got good news on the front, my friend. I was listening to the lumber report from last week, actually, not this week.
The lumber report.
Lumber futures dropped by like close to 50%. Which
Does that mean wood's going to get cheaper?
Yep. That's normally an indicator of too much supply and not enough demand. And apparently the startup new housing startup lumber purchases are missing. The numbers are way down for 2022. So either people were hoarding a bunch of lumber and they just have it somewhere, or not as many houses are going to get built. So that means that lumber prices might come down, which is good because that means I can build more stuff and make YouTube videos about it. And then you guys can be like, yeah, GRB's a lumberjack and I'm okay. Okay. Well, send me some wood then. I know the song. I know you're referencing the song, but still send me some wood.
Just a message.
GRB, I want some of your wood in my hands. Send it over. Got that wood right in my hands. Let's do it.
My pants just got a little bit tighter.
A little tight, buddy.
Just to assure the chat, Corvus is the only one that said he's making good nights. I'm going to probably hang around for a few more minutes.
You guys will be here for a while, but I got to go to bed because I got to get up before the sun comes up and go to hang wires 30 feet off the ground. So it's going to be fun.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah. Fun. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you maybe
next
next week. Maybe the week after. I don't know. Obi-Wan
We'll
Kenobi.
talk about it then. Yeah,
my only hope.
Watched it by then.
Obi-Wan
Probably-
Kenobi.
It'll be like a 2.5 hour show just talking about Obi-Wan and no fish nonsense or timber nonsense or politics nonsense. Just 100% Obi-Wan.
You have to think about something for me.
I have to think.
You
What?
have to think about something for me. Why does General Grievous have the exact lightsabers that Obi-Wan and what's his name? Obi-Wan's boss,
Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon. Why did he have exact replicas of Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan's lightsabers when they got in that lightsaber
Like,
fight?
do you mean their hilts and everything, or just
Yeah.
the colors?
The hilts and everything. Go look it up. It's so funny.
All right, interesting.
It's like when somebody was doing the VFX, they just copy and pasted like what they had. Like, we'll just use these ones. No one will ever notice.
I don't have to look stuff up like that. I just go straight to Brett, and Brett's generally got all the answers. He's an amazing Star Wars encyclopedia, man. He blows me away every time we sit down and
I
talk.
talked with him one day, and man,
Yeah,
you're not going to stump him. It's not going to happen.
Mm,
All right, buddy.
Yeah.
Talk to you
All
later.
right, I'll run it by him. See ya. Yeah, right. I'll probably do that right away. Do it in an audio text. I just have to push that once. Why? Hang on. That's not what I meant to do. I wanted to do voice to text, not an audio message. That one first, then that one. Why are General Grievous's lightsabers, well, two of them at least, the same as Obi-Wan's and Qui-Gon? Z. My Z at the end was it read as zip. Anyway, I'll fix me typos, me voiceos. Yeah, Alex, sling the link. Click it. I'll send it to you. Obi-Wan's and Qui-Gon's. Potentially, we'll have the answer in moments, depending if he's not in the bush or not. Yeah, I probably should send. That as well. What else, really? I thought I had to go to the shops for something, but I might not have to. So, yeah, I did top up. I shouldn't have, but I did. I only had 2 drinks yesterday and smoked no weed. And goodness me, I slept like terrible. A canon answer. I don't know what he was after. I'd never considered that they were the same. I understand that there's very limited colors for Jedi's lightsabers and Sith lightsabers. Well, I guess there's not. There's very limited colors for Sith lightsabers. They're always red, but yeah, I just always assumed they were Jedis that he'd killed lightsabers based on their colors. But yeah, I don't think I'd ever seen any of his close up. Bioactive mock viper enclosure. What's a mock viper? Crikey, I thought I knew snakes. Is that a non-venomous viper-looking thing? Like a hognose or something? They are non-venomous, aren't they? Where are you from, Casval? I can't work out if that's your name or if it's a if you're anagramming stuff. Yeah, he did. This is true, S. I like the way you're thinking. And considering Brett got himself a perfect replica of Obi-Wan's lightsaber on this planet, in this galaxy, it could be quite easy to conceive that Grievous could do it in a more technologically advanced society. Damn it, I can't bloody copy and paste text from a comment into Google. Pardon me, I've got a bug crawling. Oh, nice. You know what hairy grubs are? We call them hairy grubs down here, but they're little caterpillars that are covered in hairs. That if you try and pick them up, they sting you and make you itchy and stuff. That's like the second one in a few days that's just been crawling on my foot. But I obviously haven't pissed it off enough that it stings me. But yeah, Grievous is, one of the best Star Wars characters ever. He was fantastic. Especially his illness. I mean, if Obi-Wan didn't kill him, he was probably going to die next week. Yeah, even Clone Wars, I don't think they used him enough. Yeah, if they get big enough, Huawei, they can leave you with some serious welts, especially if you're sensitive to that kind of stuff. Oh, I didn't even think of that, GRB. Good idea. See ya. Oh yeah, dark green. Now I've got to clean that up. Shit. Yes, that's right. I've committed multiple murders on this stream, haven't I? Just because they're insects. All lives matter. Oh, I got gifted a book the other day, which is pretty fantastic. It's the artwork of The Mandalorian Season 2. God, those artwork books are fantastic. It's like at the end of each episode of all these new shows, they show all the concept art and stuff, or not all of it, because obviously they still want to sell some books. It's like expanded on the what they show at the end of the show, and it's just such beautiful artwork in all of the books. Even going back to all the movies and whatnot as well. They've released one for each movie, so the concept art just lovely to look at. Excuse me one moment. Whoops. Yeah, you're still going to have to tell me what they are, Casval, because I'm not on the YouTube and I can't copy and paste the text from StreamYard chat. But I'm assuming if they're a pseudo, I'm trying to find where your previous thing was that said about them. I might have jumped over it. Probably have another guest shortly that will fill in the gaps of my dead air. I do enjoy the dead air, but I know it's not good for broadcasting. What else was I going to talk about today? I did the cricket. I did the Formula One. Sarah's got COVID, BJ. You hear about that earlier. She's had it for like 2 weeks now. And I saw her, 3 days before she was tested positive, but I did not test positive. And I was also exposed to 2 of my sons had it 2 weeks ago as well. I was exposed to one of them while he had it, and I didn't get it. So yeah, I must just be weatherproof, indiseasable, or those vaccines might actually work. But I had 2 shots. I didn't have my booster. Links don't help in StreamYard either, kids. But I'll just go back once I've finished. I'll go back through the YouTube and copy and paste it from the YouTube chat. Well, that's what I thought was funny, Casval, is that in the house where my sons live, there is the 3 sons, their mum, and their mum's parents. And it didn't spread through all of them. It only got the 2 boys, and the older son had already had it before, and the same thing happened. No one got it. Look out, it's another long-haired lunatic. Another long-haired smoking lunatic. And if only my nails were painted, I could say fingernail painted lunatic as well.
You fucking hell.
G'day, Vince. How's it going?
Is that Vince McMahon?
Yeah. He's coming to teach me the wrestling moves.
Nice.
How to use the roids effectively.
Yeah. The roids and the droids.
He's got it down. That's a good name for a podcast.
Roids and droids?
Yeah. I have no idea how you could get subject matter, but it's a good name nevertheless.
It'd be very specialized.
Robots on drugs.
Robots on drugs. I feel like that's like a band name right there.
Or at least a band's best-selling first single.
Right. What's up,
hey,
Fish
man?
Dream? I see Fish Dreams in the chat, so I'm just saying hello. Hello, governor. That's how all Americans think all English speakers that are not Americans speak.
Governor and Cobber.
Governor. Pip pip cheerio. Fancy some tea and crumpets? This is smashingly brilliant.
There's nothing. Oh, I mean, there's probably is, but it's certainly right up there on the list of foreign people trying other accents. And, whether they do well or not, it's still good fun to listen to, always. I love it.
Yeah, Americans are terrible at doing accents. Yeah.
It's just a shame. It's a shame that we can't do, like we're not allowed to do Asian ones anymore, because if Whitey has a crack at an Asian accent, you could get in a little bit of trouble for that.
Oh, why is that?
If Whitey does other Whitey accents, that's fine. No worries at all. But as soon as you do
Well-
an accent of someone who looks a bit different, you're in trouble, mate.
Yeah, sure thing, them man. I could be a white Jamaican man. There be pretty many of them white Jamaican mans. Like a fishy man. So
My,
what's
um,
new?
My lawnmower man, he's a Jamaican dude. He's about fucking 9 feet tall and huge.
Runs a million miles an hour.
No, he's a big boy. He's big and muscly. He could probably wrestle or box or something. But yeah, you know, he used to come first thing in the morning and get this job out of his way. It's a pretty simple little lawn. But then one day, when he finished, we sat down and had some beers and some joints and stuff. And then now he does us at the end of the day each week.
Smart man.
Yeah, he's not silly. He's
I like the
Jamaican.
haircut. I like the buzz on the side.
Oh yeah, it keeps the shit out of my ears, man. I
Right.
get so sensitive in my ears. That's the sole purpose. Clearly it's not to look awesome.
I think you look like a Celtic warrior now. You could put braids in your beard and you could put your hair back and have some fucking tribal tattoo in blue on the side of your head.
You know, I trimmed off the beard last week as well, so I probably could have braided it last week. Sarah
My
did
beard-
a
my
French
beard's like-
braid.
Oh,
my hair.
nice. That's why it's
A
all
few weeks
wavy.
No, that's just my hair. My hair
Oh, you-
changes depending on the weather.
Natural locks of flowing curls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, depending on the humidity, sometimes they're like really tight ringlets, but yeah, it's
Oh.
just a wave today because it's
The
not
ladies
so,
like the ringlets. Ladies always go,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's so cute. You're so cute with the ringlets."
the amount of times in my life I've had ladies say to me, "You know how much I've got to pay to get my hair to look like that?"
Yeah. Oh, and then they always say, "Oh, how do you do that? How do you get your hair to be like that?" It's like I use fucking bar soap.
I'm off shampoos and stuff. I don't
Yeah.
put anything in my hair anymore.
Well, I don't use anything either. Like if I get nasty junk in my hair, like mud or something, like then I might, but I don't really. I'm like very dry. I'm a very dry human being. Like even my hands and stuff, you can see like my hands are all cracked from wherever I use anything, any amount.
You got working man's fingers.
Yeah, sure. I got
Twinning.
puggy,
Acclimate.
pudgy little sausages as fingers.
Yeah, mine are only little too. It's silly that I play guitar with these
Oh.
fingers.
Man, that's hard. You got to have the wrist dexterity then, so that you can do the old reach around the neck. You know.
My pants just got a little bit tighter for the second time this stream.
Nah, talking about chubby little sausage fingers.
Oh, third time then. I was thinking of the reach around.
Ah, yes. Ah, yes. So Obi-Wan Kenobi and General Grievous. I was under the impression that they built like a Jedi or a Sith or whatever. They build their lightsaber. Like they have to go on some quest and get the crystal or the diode or whatever. And then it like reflected whatever their choice of material was, right? Or is it like their spirit or their aura turns it a color? Like what's the deal?
Yeah, that I don't actually know of. That's a good question as well.
It's a fucking brilliant question. Thank you.
Because I know the Sith have to basically murder their crystal. They have to do nasty things to it to turn it red.
To put it in their bum.
Potentially, I'm sure that's probably one of the stages, the steps.
Does it play quarters with it? You have that
Yeah.
game? You guys play
No.
quarters? Where you like put your knuckles down on a table and slide quarters into them back and forth at a bar?
We don't have quarters. What's that?
Well-
The 25-cent coin.
Loonies or whatever you have. Toonies and
No,
Gibble
I'm not
coins.
Canadian. I'm not Canadian.
I'm pretty sure that those countries connect somewhere.
Just by the Commonwealth. That's all.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And apparently, everyone around the world thinks Canadians and Australians are real nice people.
I don't think Australians are nice. You guys are bastards.
Yeah, we're fuckwits too.
You know, I've found that Australians tend to be very liberal conservatives. Generally.
Yeah, isn't that an oxymoron of sorts?
Yeah. But I know
that pretty much sums us up.
A lot of people I've met, and they're like eating organic, and they've got like a fucking top knot dreadlocks or something, and a bunch of tattoos, and like a white dude with dreadlocks kind of thing going on, and then they're talking about like, yeah, man, it's crazy how many guns you guys have. I mean, I understand going shooting for sport a little, but you guys are crazy. And then like next minute they're like, yeah, too bad there's so many Aborigines.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
Or
a lot
they're
of
like, or they're the opposite, and they're like, oh, everyone here's so mean. Like, I'm Aborigine, I better stand up for them, that kind of thing. Like, what's that band? Midnight Oil.
Yeah. What about them?
Oh, their whole like, give the land back to the Aborigines. You know, they can have the whole desert back.
They're very, very political band. They always were.
Yeah.
Actually, they only did a tour very recently, but the lead singer from Midnight Oil became a politician.
I thought you were going to say woman or something.
Not with that face. Or that dancing style. But yeah, I'm not sure if he's still in the caper or not, or if he gave it up to go back and do shows with Midnight Oil. Yeah, you know, pretty good band. Mixed messages, like you say. But yeah, generally they had their heart in the right place.
That's good.
And
I mean,
Robbie Hurst, the drummer, I think he had a much better singing voice than Peter Garrett, the singer. I don't know why they bothered with Peter Garrett. Probably because of all that dancing and shit. Oh, sorry, finches. I scared my birds off.
Do you have captive finches or just wild ones that were nearby?
No, just wild ones. And I've got, hang on, I'll try and spin this around and
cockatiels.
Plenty of cockatoos. Cockatiels are supposed to be native to this area, but they're I certainly haven't seen them around here. Jesus, now I've lost where my camera is.
All the birds are out right now here too in Seattle part of the U.S., Washington. But my allergies are awful. I'm so itchy today from the pollen is all falling this time of year up here. Yeah, wow, that's a beautiful backyard or front yard or side yard or whatever kind of yard it is.
Did you just see that finch come in and land on the big silver tray?
Yeah.
He'll keep popping his head up to make sure that I'm not going to try and murder him.
So is that common to have like an open like patio? Like, I don't know, in the US we probably call that a lanai. Like the way
I call it a pergola.
Pergola?
Yeah. Or pergola.
Pergola. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say I think I've heard a word similar here. Or a veranda. But I think that's more like
a veranda is normally elevated off the ground.
Yeah. I was gonna say, and it could or could not be attached to a building, I suppose. Yeah. But so, how's life treating you?
Yeah, it's okay. I've got you know, my finches have been hanging out all day long because it's wet outside, so they don't want to go and hunt for seed in the wet. So why not come and sit in the dry seed?
Wet Finches, the heavy metal band. Dr. Black and the Wet Finches.
Well, they're actually red-browed finches. Very pretty.
They've got brows, huh?
Red brow, like eyebrow.
Yeah, so they've got brows.
Yeah, and
these birds are
very, very bright red eyebrows.
Are they inquisitive? Do they cock one and give you a funny look all the time?
Yeah, constantly. Mainly because the that tray that you can see that I've got their seed in is deeper than their body height. So you'll constantly see, like if this dude's doing right now, he'll pick up a few bits of seed and then pop his head up to make sure that no one's coming.
Yeah,
And
fuck off.
quite often today, there's been like 5 or 6 in there at a time, and
Oh, nice.
they'll take turns of who's popping their heads up. It's very cool to watch when there's a bunch in there.
Is that a citrus tree out there too?
It is. That's the orange tree. Absolutely loaded with fruit.
Wow. Man, I'm jealous of that.
Got a mandarin tree out the front too. It's quite loaded as well. The oranges are much riper than the mandays, are they?
So are mandarin separate from orange in your country? Like, you guys consider those two separate things?
Yes, they're different fruit.
Okay, yeah. In the U.S., we have mandarin oranges and then like caracara oranges or whatever. Like, they're just seen as a type of orange, basically.
Yeah, right. I did ask Corvus and I had this discussion earlier about mandarins, and he said he's got mandarins over there as well. But the key difference, apart from flavor, obviously, is that mandarins you can peel them and break them apart without breaking the internal membranes.
Yes.
So you can basically peel it and then break the segments apart and eat them without getting juice all over you. Whereas an orange, if you can do that with an orange, you're a freaking expert.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I like the little satsumas. Those are my favorite.
I don't. What are they? Kumquats?
No, they're little oranges. I think they might have tangerine like crossed with them or something.
Yeah,
but
right.
they're like little oranges that are like they're frequently dipped in chocolate in a lot of countries, but they're little oranges. What was that?
Sorry about that. If that hurt everyone else's ears as much as mine.
Yeah, what was that? Is that just
me.
you clapping?
That was I clapped, but it was to kill a mosquito, which I got. But
Sounded like you fired off a gun in the house.
My ears are still ringing. That was the loudest clap I've done for years, and all I wanted to do was kill a bug.
The highlight of the stream, the clap.
Wow.
You know, that makes me think about
trying to kill bugs today. That's just
maybe a little
up in arms.
Maybe be a little more Buddhist, less violent.
Well, maybe the bugs shouldn't fly so close to my face.
That's not what the Dalai Lama preaches.
I don't know why they've got to get in there so much.
Be kind to one another. Unless they get all up in your face, then fuck their shit up.
Yeah,
Lama.
I'll ignore the ones out of my arm reach, but as soon as they come close to my face, I should use one hand and slap them into my face. Then I get a little bit of retribution from the act as well.
That seems fair. I think like, what's the sound of one hand clapping? About like that. Yeah, if you make it just real loose, you can get it going.
Yeah, some days I can do it good.
A one hand clappy.
Yeah, but I've had 5 schooners of bourbon, so
have you really now? That's you've got. You're quite articulate and loose. For
very, 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 very experienced with drinking, Alex.
No experimental, huh?
I've loads of practice of keeping my shit together whilst getting inebriated.
No experimenting with alcohol.
S says, "Can you two stop fapping?" Is that what one hand clapping is called? It certainly sounds like fapping.
How do you make that noise? There's a terrible noise you can make if you really want to. Yeah. There you
I had a friend in high school who was the best at that noise, and he'd every time before he'd do it, he'd go, "What's oh shit?" I just poured 1,000 filters into my tobacco tin. He'd go, "What's this noise?" A whore chasing a bus.
I'll say a squirrel digging through macaroni and cheese.
That probably would have been more applicable at our age. However, we don't have any native squirrels, so probably wouldn't have been excitable.
You know, squirrels can be anything. They're just any little critter that's like half monkey, half rat.
Apparently, I was listening to, I think it was Stuff You Should Know podcast the other day.
Oh, I love that podcast.
Me too. Chuck and Josh are so cool.
Yeah.
I love their relationship. I love the way Chuck giggles at Josh's half-assed jokes, and when he gets a good joke going, Chuck's giggle is even better. But yeah, they were saying that somewhere, I think down in Victoria, there was a population of squirrels introduced, but they didn't survive. They didn't outlive the natural predators that we have down here, which is quite many.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably spiders ate them or something. Your mosquitoes killed them.
Yeah, our house flies carried them away, dropped them in the ocean.
Earthworms ate them.
Yeah, that's they were saying that there's squirrel family animals on pretty much every continent except for Australia and Antarctica.
Well, you guys got all the marsupials. We only have 2 marsupials left in North America.
Oh, what's the second one? I know the opossum.
Yeah, there's another one that looks like a little cat that lives in Texas and New Mexico and Arizona. And most people don't know about it, but it has another name, like a folk name, like that the locals call it. It's not a tree cat. It's like is it a bear cat? Yeah, I think it's a bear cat. I think that's what they call it, a bear cat.
Bear cat. Googling. Oh, wow. A binturong. No, it's not a binturong. That says native to South and Southeast Asia. Unless it's been invaded there.
No, look up like God, what the heck is it called? It might be like a ring-tailed something, but
binturongs look pretty cool.
It looks like a little
navel, actually.
It looks like a very elongated cat, and it has like a bushy tail, and it lives in trees.
Oh wait, you said there's only 2 marsupials in Northern America.
There might be some like shrews or something, but yeah, you could probably
marsupials.
I don't know.
Rodents as well. Oh no, they're not rodents. Marsupials of North America.
Watch, there's gonna be like 50, and I'm gonna be wrong.
Most of them are varieties of opossum.
Yeah.
And then there's Ameridalavria, which just looks like another version of a Virginia opossum.
Oh.
So it's not that cool. Mexican mouse opossum.
So many possums.
Do you guys even pronounce the O, or is it just possum like everywhere else?
Nobody says opossum unless they're trying to like sound smart.
Why do they even keep it? Where did it come from? That's what I want to know.
It's the Latin, I think. Isn't it?
Yeah, right.
On one of the species, like one of the common species. But I mean, yeah,
yes,
when people are talking, they just say possum. Yeah.
Gray 4-eyed opossum. I'm pretty sure it doesn't actually have 4 eyes, though.
No, it has glasses. It's born with glasses.
But yeah, on that search that I did, all of the The ones that I see are just all different varieties of opossum. Hang on, let's try a different clicker.
I'm trying. God, why can't I remember the name of this stupid thing? There's like hardly any of them. They're like very endangered.
Are they introduced or are they natives?
They're native. Yeah. I mean, they look like a little like leopard or something. Or, yeah, I guess it'd be a leopard. I'm trying to remember what they're freaking called though. They're in Texas mostly, like East or West Texas and the Sonoran deserts, like where there's elevation and some trees, some pine trees. Man, it's gonna bug me now. Because when I saw it, I was like, "Bull! I've never seen that animal, never even heard of it." Like, but there's also, like a history of jaguars and ocelots being in the U.S. also, and they've seen ocelots in the not too distant past, but the other ones they haven't seen since like 100 years ago or something. Remember, America has lots of guns, so we like to kill anything that enters our country that is edible or nailable to the wall.
Yeah, they're saying the only North American marsupial is opossums or possums.
Oh.
Stop saying that.
Maybe I must be wrong then. I wonder what it is. It's some like vestigial, like it has no relatives. I know that much. Like, I thought it was a marsupial though. I'm gonna change
the best description I've ever heard. The South American opossum looks like a large furry mouse. It doesn't though. How do they think that a possum looks like a mouse? Goodness me.
No, most possums have kind of like a red panda or a weasel mixed with a dog or something. Yeah.
And with fucking mouthful of teeth that hurt when they bite.
Yeah, ours are really nasty up here in the Northwest. We have the biggest ones, and they're not the cute ones that hang from trees upside down with all their babies on their nipples or whatever in their pouch. They're the ones that hiss and stumble around. They can't see worth a damn, and they like run into walls literally. Like you'll see them like smash into your wall and then like run alongside till they hit the garbage can, and then they'll like sniff around and jump up into the garbage can. And if you come up behind them, they'll hiss at you and they'll piss themselves, like spray it. And then like their last resort is to play dead. But usually that's like if a dog or something startles one. But they got into my pond last year here at the new house that I moved to.
Stole some fish.
They ate a bunch of Medaka rice fish. I was surprised because they just, I'm like, you guys can't even see like a foot in front of you. How are you catching fish? But
and tiny little biscuits as well.
Yeah. Raccoons are the main one though, that like those things eat all the fish. They have like little articulated fingers that allow them to do pretty much anything a human hand can do. So
was Coati or Kawati the one you were thinking of?
That might be it. Yeah, that might be it. Does it look like a little leopard type thing?
No, it still looks like a possum with a stripy tail. Actually, it looks like a what are the ones we have here? A Dunnart maybe, or a crikey, I can't remember.
Does it have stripes or anything, or dots?
Only on the tail. It's got stripy tail, but its body fur is just a brown.
Huh. Is it in Texas, Arizona, and New Mexico?
No, South American.
Oh.
But, that's not to say that they can't get up there.
They're good climbers. They can climb 900 kilometers.
We need to get to the bottom of this. We need to find out what this mythical creature is you've seen.
I think it's pronounced chupacabra.
Nick Kroll. He's the best chupacabra ever. You know Nick Kroll?
Oh, yeah, of course I know him. And you know that he was given when he turned 18, $250 million he inherited.
I did
I
not
know.
know that.
I found this article by Vanity Fair a month ago that had like celebrities that were rich before they were famous, and
Yeah.
it was crazy how many people are like millionaire trust fund babies that are, well known, and you're like, well, no wonder they made it or whatever. I mean, they may be talented or whatever, but
But they had something to fall back on.
yeah, like Jodie Foster had like $400 million or something ridiculous. Anderson Cooper, the news reporter on CNN, is one of the Vanderbilt
It's
heirs.
crazy. Now I've turned my camera away from the bird feeder. There's like 7 finches hanging out. Hang on, I'll spin it again. Fucking any movement, they fly away. Surely you're used to me now, kids.
You need to put some Valium in that bird feeder so that they just relax.
Oh, I think, am I on the bird feeder again? I can't
Yeah.
see because of the glare.
Yeah, you're on it. Do you put
Yeah,
water out for them too?
No, there's plenty of that around at the moment. It's been raining for 3 fucking months. Yeah, my favorite bit is just when they pop their heads up. Oh, look, 3 at once.
What's the one that's hopping on the ground or just was on the ground?
That's the same bird. Yeah,
Okay.
they're very, very messy eaters. So there's a shit ton of seed on the ground as well as in the tray. So
Yeah.
whoever's not allowed in the tray just scavenges on the ground instead. Because they do get a bit rowdy in there, and they kick the young ones out or the non-dominant ones out. They have to, wait their turn or go and scavenge on the ground for the leftovers.
Interesting. Yeah, they're messy little polecat. That might be it. That might be the other name for it.
I thought they were like a skunk. Aren't they skunks or weasels?
They're probably weasels, those ones, now that I think about it, but that might be the one that I'm getting confused with the.
Because they have a stink defense as well, don't they? Like skunks do. Or maybe
I
they
don't
just
know.
non-stop.
I don't know. I don't really know anything about them, other than I've run one over accidentally. They don't live well.
There's that old curse or oath or swear word, holy suffering polecats.
Yeah. Or suffering succotash if you're Donald Duck. Or Daffy Duck.
Daffy Duck, yeah.
Damn ducks and the D names. Donald Duck, Daffy Duck,
Daisy Duck, Dewey Duck,
yeah,
Scrooge Duck, Scrooge McDuck.
Scrooge McDuck, yeah.
How does he get a Mick yet Donald Duck's his nephew? How come they don't share a surname?
Well,
Has anyone ever investigated this?
One is a dirty Irishman. Damn Irish ducks. Scottish ducks, actually. I should know that. I'm Scottish. I dislike that as I get older, my facial hair is turning red. It used to be completely blonde, and now it's going totally red.
That's your Scottish heritage pushing its way through.
Yeah.
Where my white bits are used to be ginger as well.
Yeah.
I was very proud of it when I was younger that I had 2 ginger stripes through the beard.
That's pretty cool.
Quite cool to have, the 2 tones. Now I've got 2 tones as well, but it's not as cool as ginger and black.
It's pretty cool. I'm digging it. Where'd Joel go? You have to go to bed or something?
Yeah. He gets up very early in the morning. I'm not sure what time it is over there, but generally he's out of here by 9 o'clock his time.
It's 2300 or 11 p.m.
Well, I suppose now that he's moved closer, maybe his bedtime is 10 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock.
Is he doing aquarium co-op as his main work right now?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, yeah. That would make sense. What do you got planned for the day?
What is it? It's 5 to 4 in the afternoon. So I was kind of planning to be off stream about an hour ago and go and watch last night's cricket game before I have to cook dinner.
Cricket.
Yeah.
Why is it called cricket? Do you know anything about that?
I don't know about the etymology of that word at all.
It's probably nothing to do with the animal, I would guess, but I bet it's like
Yeah.
a native word for like some game they were copying or something.
Maybe.
Like croquet or something, and they're like, can't say that. Cricket.
Maybe it's got some origins with croquet.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
I mean, you're striking a ball towards something.
Yep.
It'll be actually now. I want to look up because croquet is a French word.
So is crochet.
Etymology of croquet. Let's look that up. Might give
I
us
think
some-
it's like stick or something.
hook.
Hook.
Oh, and it's linked to crochet.
That makes sense.
Perhaps a dialect form of French crochet.
Okay. We're getting here. We're learning. Learning with Dr. Black, who has a real fake PhD.
A real fake PhD. Yeah, I profess it constantly. Not a real doctor, but I'll pretend.
But I
I'll-
play one on YouTube.
I'll take a look at it for you.
You're a bush doctor.
Yeah, I can still strap an injury and treat a wound and dish
Stick.
out some CPR if I have to. Yeah, I can suture a wound. No worries.
You can
Done that
crochet.
before.
You can crochet a wound. Make them
No,
a freaking
look,
oven
that's
mitt
it.
out of their wound.
It's been a long time since I've attempted crochet, and I believe when I tried it in my teens, I wasn't very good at it at all.
You can close their wound and make a nice little decor item for hanging potted plants off their leg at the meantime too. Like a macrame wound closing.
They used to use spider webs to jam into open wounds and stuff to slow the bleeding down.
Who's
And
they?
the old Europeans and stuff.
Stupid
and-
bastards.
Scientific trials have proved that something in spider webs actually does slow down the bleeding of an open wound.
Interesting. I mean, it's like maggots, those worked well.
Well, maggots are used just for clearing out rotting flesh,
Mm-hmm.
which is very sensible, and I think
Yeah.
still used to this day with necrosis and stuff.
Yeah, they use it in the burn wards here.
Yeah.
Um,
Because once it's gone a certain distance, there's no saving it. So just get the critters in, the sterile critters in to sort it out. Wait,
Yeah.
Casval, are you calling cricket budget baseball? Because baseball was invented from cricket, right?
no, I didn't know that, but
No,
I don't-
Casval I'm talking to, he's saying, I'm pretty sure he's calling cricket budget baseball.
How old is cricket then? Like 200 years?
Easy, yeah.
Yeah. Golf is
Early-
really old. Like golf is like 1200 years old.
1700s. Oh,
No, it's way older than that. It's like 900 AD or something ridiculous.
I suppose hitting a rock into a hole with a stick is probably a lot more achievable than something with so much rules and regulations and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't need a team.
True.
It's one of those what else are you going to do in Scotland, the rolling hills? It's
But
raining.
for anyone who hasn't experienced cricket before, one place I'd highly recommend, one tournament, is the IPL, because you've got all this super high level quality players playing against one another. And it's the quickest format of the game. It's over in bugger all time. It lasts probably about the same time as a baseball game,
Okay.
or maybe even less. Cody, you're getting a bit loose there. Cody, I'm not even going to say that. Everyone can read that for themselves and make their own judgment. We've all been there, I'm sure.
I don't intentionally do that, but I mean, sure. I mean, it's bound to happen once a month or so.
Especially if you open wounds on your ball sack or on your dick.
Yeah, well, generally the open wounds are from chafing, you know.
Yeah, but the incredibly exciting format of the game. You've got dudes just going for it, hitting big, getting big scores. If you want an introduction to cricket, that's a really good place to start. Is the IPL?
IPL. Where do they play that? Is it played at the same place each year or something? Or?
It's in India. It's the Indian Premier League.
Oh, okay.
And they get big money to spend. So they spend lots of money on getting. Each team can have 4 international players on their side per game. So they all invest big money in getting whoever the better T2020 cricket players from around the world into their side. So you get all these awesome dudes playing off against one another.
Guys who look like Thor.
Yeah. Lots of Thor-looking dudes.
I guess.
Look, there's a few Indian dudes in the tournament who are big and muscly and stuff, but most of the big muscly dudes are either from the Caribbean or from Australia or from South Africa.
Okay, I was gonna ask, is it kind of like football where it's all a bunch of white guys watching it and then there's like 90% black guys playing it? Or basketball for that matter.
Well, it's in India, so most of the crowd are brown. But there's a few whiteys and blacks in the crowd, but yeah, and it's played by definitely a balance of skin tones.
That's nice. It's like soccer.
It's well spread out amongst the colours of skin. This sport, but yeah, I know what you're saying about the football and the basketball. I suppose is in that.
Well, it's funny too because in America, there's some like freaking backwards racist ass people that are like, I love my football team, and they're like, fight you over it. But it's like, you know, if you talked about putting a library in the inner city, they'd be like, hang that man. Yeah. I don't know, man. Our country has gone crazy the last 5 years or so.
I don't think it's just your country. I think it's the planet. There's a little bit of untimely insanity going around humanity at the moment.
There's like a definite hint of let's set the clock back 50 years, which is kind of interesting. I mean, I guess you always get that pendulum swing, but I just don't see anyone my age or younger that is perpetuating it that much. It tends to be like the last gasp of the baby boomers that are pushing most of the like nonsense, in my opinion.
What's your age?
35.
All right, you're still a spring chicken.
Yeah.
But
I hear summer's coming soon, though.
I do tend to agree with you, and a lot of even though we've got lots of snowflakes and whatnot in the modern generation, I do believe that the humans that we're producing nowadays are certainly becoming more learned and wise to the world, even if they're not.
The thing that I don't understand is like how in America both political sides like that are mainstream is like they constantly identify with these politicians that have nothing remotely to do with the way they live, and they think they're going to be a champion for like their causes, and they're all career politicians with like millions of dollars backing them, and it's like, why would any of them have any care about your person who's working 2 jobs and like trying to get by. And instead, though, they always just blame the problem on something else. Like it's the other party's fault, or it's immigrants' faults, or it's it's someone, but not me, not the guy who's supposed to make laws to fix things. Drives me mad. It's like you got to figure out how you're going to punch down at somebody rather than hold anybody accountable who's supposed to do things with their power.
Well, that's one thing. One thing I'm quite happy about. We had an election down here at the weekend, so we've got a new prime minister. And
congrats.
Well, he's the guy that I voted for, so I'm happy.
Cheers.
One thing I noticed is that there's a lot more younger people, going into politics and serving themselves as an independent candidate or for one of the lesser parties and stuff. And that's exactly what I've been crying out for fucking 10 or 15 years now, is getting more younger minds into politics instead of just all these boomers and old people.
Well, and the thing that I don't understand is whether you're conservative, liberal, right, left, whatever you want to call it. I know America's politics are real screwed up from the rest of the world, what they consider right and left, But, there's been this call for like more social freedoms and more like you do you, I'll do me, but let's take care of each other a little bit. But the way to implement it is like what changes, like whether it should be the local church and charity and like goodwill that does it, or whether it should be the government and laws and bureaucracy that does it, is like the real difference when you get down to it. But the younger generation definitely seems to agree that something's got to give.
Well, I think a lot of the youth don't see the the polarizing aspect of 2-party politics. How can an entire species of humans, sorry birds, I scared like 9 of them off at once, there's the left and the right, and how do all of us humans belong to one side or the other? There's got to be millions and millions of people that hover around the middle somewhere that don't adhere to this or this very drastic end of the spectrum.
Well, I mean, that what's interesting right now in our country that's not getting talked about a lot is like there's been this agenda that was set forth like 30 years ago by the conservative end of politics, and they've finally they've always held it up kind of like the Palestinian and Israel situation, where like they're trying to hold it up as like this thing that they always have to fight, but they never expected to actually win the fight or get a hold of the thing. Just like the Arab world's always like down with Israel, and then like, well, why don't you do something about it then? And they're like, no, we'll throw like some food at the Palestinians, but other than that, no. But like the evangelical Christian groups have been like, no gay marriage, no premarital sex, no sex education in school, no drugs, war on drugs, no what do you call it, social services, and no abortion, or even they don't even want birth control. And now they're starting to get some of those things. And when they take polls, like 77% of the people don't agree with that. Like when it comes down to it, they're like, wait a minute. Actually, you're talking about me? Like I have to follow those rules? No, I don't like that plan. So that's the kind of weird thing. So I don't know what's going to happen. But America has become like so bad as far as health care is like the number one cause of debt. And it's like 30% of households have debt that's something to do with health care or missing work because of health issues. Yet we have half of America saying we don't need any help with health care. The government will screw it up. And it's like, I don't like anything seems like it would be better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like our system down here, even though our system is heavily funded by tobacco taxes, and I smoke tobacco heavily.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was saying
Well,
earlier that my pouches of shredded tobacco went from $16 to $53 in the space
Oh.
of 7 or 8 years. So,
wow.
but that's
Well,
another one where they could argue that the wealthy don't smoke so much, so it doesn't really affect them, but the poor are generally considered to be heavier smokers.
yeah. Well, like the government here is going to ban menthol cigarettes.
What? I used to smoke menthols.
Yeah, they already have banned cloves in most states, but they're going to ban menthols, and it's like 80% of menthol smokers happen to be African Americans. So,
The cools.
Newport.
Stereotype, sorry.
It is a stereotype, but it's very true. Like, I mean, it's just like, I don't know, a thing. You know, it's a stereotype.
How do they justify it? What do they say they're banning it for?
Oh, health, of course. Menthol is bad for you, unlike cigarettes.
Valid point, government. Well said.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a weird one. But
Yeah, no,
like
Huawei, I meant to address that earlier when you put your tobacco in quotes, that we don't have legal weed down here at the moment, so it's not taxed. So yeah, the government's not taking tax out of weed, but if they bloody hurried up and legalized it, then they could be collecting so much tax.
well, you know, part of the joke is it's same with like NATO having the UN having a charter and like rules that in theory they like to say they're fighting, but then like the people under it really don't seem to want that. It's like marijuana is illegal around the world due to the UN, due to the US pressure on making it so in the 1960s and 70s. And now the US is the one who has like the most legalized spots now, probably. There's a lot of countries that have decriminalized, but straight up legalizing is like kind of more American.
Bit of American hypocrisy almost.
Yeah. But like, you know, it's funny too, because like the cigarette companies, they copyrighted like Camel or Marlboro Greens like 40 years ago, just in case. I want to know if they've like, you know, like gotten the copyrights for like crack, like ice.
Yeah. It's still hidden in a filing cabinet in some
Yeah.
executive's office.
Mhm.
But all the paperwork's there and done.
Spice. It's the spice traders. Yeah. Have you seen the new Dune?
No, I haven't. No,
I haven't
not yet.
either.
Yeah,
Not-
Joel was giving me shit about it before, that I hadn't gone and seen it in the cinema. But I'm a heathen bloody person who likes to hang on to my money and don't like being exorbitantly priced to watch a movie until it's free on the streaming service that I'm already paying enough money for.
I agree.
And I if I can avoid spoilers and stuff on the social media and stuff, no worries at all.
Well,
And-
I mean,
and
Darth
wait it
Vader
out.
ends up being his father is really the only thing you need to not hear about Dune.
Darth Vader is Paul Atreides' father.
Yeah.
Wow.
The sandworm. The sandworm is his father.
That must have been a fun night for Paul's mum.
Yeah, it's actually the Pitacarcoon and the Sarlacc had a wild and crazy night with the sandworms, which gave birth to Jabba the Hutt, and then Jabba the Hutt had it with Princess Leia, and then you start getting creatures that start resembling humans more.
All right, Casval, thanks for hanging out, dude. We'll see you next time.
So how are your fish?
I don't have many fish at the moment. I have one large gibbiceps and actually, yeah, I've got fish inside. What am I talking about? I always only resign myself to these two tanks because they're the ones I'm always around. But I've got a tank inside with white clouds and some ember tetras and a bristlenose and some shrimp. I've got a tank over
Shrimp?
here with 1 billion fucking shrimp in it at the moment.
What kind of shrimp?
I just cherry shrimp
Oh, yeah.
varieties of different colors,
Cool.
cherries and some greens and some blacks and whatnot. And there's so many babies in that tank at the moment. It's absolute
Time to
shrimp
put
fest.
some baby fish in there, and then you'll have big fish quickly.
Yeah, maybe.
Or you
Yeah,
could sell some.
This one behind me is like a 5 foot long tank and quite large
Damn.
with my gibby and some bristlenose in it. But I want to put some native prawns in there, freshwater prawns.
Oh, wow.
They're my
Yeah.
favorite aquarium creature ever. I think they're so fun.
Have you kept any of the like long clawed crayfish, stuff like that at all ever?
I've had red claw crayfish before. When I first got into the hobby, I had this. I was living in Sydney at the time with my future wife and a flatmate, and I had this 2 foot tank beside the dinner table.
Is that a future ex-wife or a future current wife?
Future ex-wife.
Okay.
We're no longer together. I'm with Sarah now. She's not my wife.
Okay. I wasn't sure of the status. Just trying to clarify and organize in my head so I can judge.
I don't even know why that was a relevant factor in the story. But yeah,
okay.
beside where our dinner table was, I had a 2 foot tank, and in it I had 3 red claw crayfish and 3 Oscars.
Oh.
2 foot tank. These Oscars were 3 inches long. The crayfish were probably longer. And yeah, it was always good fun at dinner because you just chuck some scraps off your plate into the tank and then watch all 6 creatures go to town fighting over the food.
Yeah. They like basically just jab the fish to keep them away, or?
Yeah, I never lost an Oscar to a crayfish, so obviously the Oscars were just big enough to get out of their claws.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy.
Casval, you won't be able to drop links. I don't think you're a moderator, mate. So I'll go back through the chat and find the name of that snake and look it up, dude. It's okay. Don't sweat it. Yeah, that was a good fun tank. But yeah, I'm more interested in the prawns. They're so much fun to watch. There's a video on my channel where I take a rather large grasshopper from my garden and feed it to the prawn, and the prawn takes it down and eats it all up. It's good fun.
When you say prawn, it makes me think of District 9, which is a movie they're supposed to have a sequel to.
Yeah, it's still in. I think it's still in writing stages.
Is it? Okay, yeah.
Because I'm desperately hanging out for that because I love that. District 9 is such a fantastic movie.
It was a great movie. Yeah. Holy probably nuts.
It's in probably in my top 5, maybe let's say top 7 movies of all time. I loved it. I could watch it any day of the week. I got it on DVD.
Is that right behind Chappie?
Chappie was pretty good, but I rate District 9 as a better movie than
No,
Chappie.
I agree.
Chappie was good fun.
I got to meet the folks of Dear Antwoord.
Oh, yeah.
When they came through Seattle. Yeah.
I thought that was probably the most interesting aspect of Chappie was that they got those guys to work well as the actors in that movie, you know?
Yeah.
Who would have thunk it?
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you look into their history at all, like they used to be like an indie kind of techno, like hipster group. And then he just decided to do that as like a joke, basically, like that he was a rapper and from the slums and yada yada, like white trash of Africa. And people were just captivated by it, you know?
Yeah.
But I got to talk with the gal Yolandi Visser. She was pretty nice.
which is pretty easy on the eyes.
I'll say. Yeah. Yeah, I had a sheet of paper that said, Yolandi be my wife, and I was there with my wife.
How'd that go down?
My wife was rolling her eyes, but the concert that they put on was like really hardcore. Like, I haven't seen a mosh pit like that since like some heavy metal genres or something. Like, people were, full out fist fighting in there and like throwing bottles and glasses and stuff. It was bad. But so my wife didn't want to go up towards the front, and so she was like, I'm gonna sit with our friends back here. And like, the girls kind of rolled their eyes while us guys went up front and checked out what was going on. And everyone was throwing joints on stage and underwear and bras and you name it. Yeah, it was an interesting performance art, I guess you'd call it. I mean, the dude's tattooed himself completely with stick and poke, like penises and stuff all over him.
What was it on your mum's house the other day? They had one of their, actually it might have been their opening video, was this redneck dude just running a tattoo needle across his own forehead while he was completely off chops. And yeah, it was quite terrible.
Well,
I got a son who's got a lot of self tattoos around his own foot that he wants to keep going with, but any of his other tattoos are professionally done up here. At least his his high school ones messing around with his mates are all down low on his foot, and he can hide them with his work boots and whatnot.
That's good. It freaking hurts to tattoo your foot. Both my feet are really tattooed, so my legs are both completely like sleeved, I guess you'd call it. So, but I only have a couple tattoos above the waist.
I wanted to get to buy a tattoo gun just so Sarah could do some freehand stuff on me.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all right for you Americans to say they're cheap. You got to ship
They
it
have
down
to be
here,
cheap though. Can't you get the Chinese made ones? Like they're literally like $12 to $30 for the actual machine online here.
Yeah, I think I was looking at more around $170 for a ready to go kit.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. The kits, I mean, like, granted, it's not that great, but it's not that bad either. Like, they're pretty simple. Like, you can make them out of a damn Walkman,
Yeah, well, they get away with it in jail using biros and needles and pins.
Yeah.
And you see, there's this new tattoo ink that's becoming popular that fades. You get
Yes.
about 12 months out of it.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good way to test a design out, see if you like it or not, and then go back 12 months later and get it done proper.
I would make stencils out for people, and if they wanted it anywhere on their hands or neck or face, I would tell them, like, put these stencils on every day for at least a couple weeks, and make sure you don't have to, like, if you're embarrassed that it's a stencil, even that, like, that's the amount of attention that you're going to have to do whatever, even if it doesn't look like a stencil. And then, like, whenever they would come in for tattoos, I would put the stencil on them, and definitely, if I could, get their picture in the picture, or I'd use their ID, their driver's license, and I would take a picture with the stencil on before I did anything, and then I'd have them sign that printed out from the computer, like that was the placement and everything. And then we do the tattoo, because I've had so many people just be like, oh, I thought it was going to be more to the left, or whatever. It's like, shut up. Like, you had your chance. Quiet.
Yeah. Sensible to cover your bases.
People come back, that's for sure. Why did you let me get that?
Yes, the ant lions are very cool.
What are
ant lions?
Oh yeah.
I had this little, like, 1.5 foot long fish tank that I used to fill with sand, and I'd go and catch ant lions, and I'd keep ant lions for months at a time just to watch their fun antics.
I used to catch bees, like bumblebees, and put them in the freezer, and then put like really lightweight fishing line around them. Did you ever do that?
make them fly around in circles.
Yeah, and then you like thaw them out, and yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I never had the patience for that, but I've heard of kids that used to do it with march flies and stuff.
Yeah, horse flies will work. Those things bite hard though.
Yeah, same as a marsh fly, pretty much. There's pretty
Okay.
much the same creature, I believe.
Yeah. Nasty, shitty creatures.
As soon as summer rolls around, and you know what's weird about them as well is that they're, for a fly, they're pretty bloody massive, but you don't feel them land on you. They're so stealth entry, and the first thing you feel is when their beak goes through your skin. It's like, "Ugh."
Yeah, you're right. That is weird.
They just have this amazing ability to land without any sensation. Even if they land on, like, my legs aren't hairy, but there's enough hair there that I should be able to detect a large insect landing on my leg.
You know, I was gonna say, I think like as much as like I've heard theories that humans have hair for warmth and this or that, like I could see the reason humans have hair all over still, just to be like, oh, something landed on you, because that really does help you spot like a tick or some other thing.
Yeah, that's it. There's so much shit that can just land on us and do us a mischief.
Yeah, especially in Africa where we came from, man. There's a million nasty bugs there.
Those tsetse flies.
Yeah, the bot flies and
the flies,
mango flies. There's so many nasty flies that lay eggs in you and then eat their way out. And then the mosquito fly that has malaria. And
I suppose they've probably got the worst bugs to humans because they've been exposed to humans for the longest.
Yeah,
so
you're probably right.
They've had time to evolve their nastiness.
Yeah, and then Southeast Asia and Micronesia is probably the second longest habitated area for humans, and they've got like the dengue fever, yellow fever. They got some nasty bug-related illness too.
Wonder how Australia got Ross River fever. I suppose we've had human civilization here for 60,000 years, so bugs have had time to develop their Ross River fever. That's another one. It's very similar to dengue fever if you're not familiar with Ross River fever.
No, I've heard of it. I mean, I couldn't tell you anything about it, but I recognize it.
It can the after effects can fuck people up for the rest of their lives. It's full on.
Does it like paralyze you or blind you or something like that afterwards? Sometimes, or
it certainly has physical effects. My ex-mother-in-law, she had Ross River fever, and she still walks with a limp because it messed up something in her hips.
Gotcha. It's like
I think because all of us humans are fairly genetically diverse nowadays. The effects are completely different from one person to the next of what messes them up for the rest of their life.
Yeah, it's like polio. That one, some people barely even notice they have it. Other people, iron lung. Yeah. Well, I don't want to keep you here if you're trying to escape. So you say the word.
Let's fuck off. Let's
okay. Bugger off.
Yes. I need to go and put a shepherd's pie in the oven.
Can I come over for dinner?
Sure, man. There's heaps. There's like big dish. Like there's 19 serves in it, and there's only 3 of us to eat. So we're probably doing shepherd's pie for 3 nights at this stage.
Well, I'll probably be there for the 3rd night if I leave now.
Start swimming now.
Yeah, I could. I think it's a straight line from like my coast to you. I think I might hit some Pacific islands on the way that like take a break on.
Just keep your Google Maps open. It'll lead you around the coastlines. And it's only like I'm, maybe 10 kilometers from the coastline. So just hitchhike from the coast. You'll get a lift. Everyone hitchhikes around here. They don't mind picking up strange red-headed dudes.
The Google Maps for my area, I don't know if it still does this, but I remember when Google Maps was new, and it would say like if I put in like New Zealand or Australia or Japan or something, it would give me directions to like the airport or the ferry or whatever. but then the alternate, like if you clicked alternate route or the little walking route, it would like lead you straight to the beach, and then it would say like get in the water and start swimming.
I remember doing that somewhere as well, and it gave me like a 23-day swim or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I think the equivalent was walk, but it was definitely
Yeah.
implying that you were swimming from here.
Yeah. Oh man. I wonder, has anybody ever swam from New Zealand to Australia, like, with boats and stuff? Like,
I don't believe so.
it's probably
There's people
rough.
have certainly paddled it before on like kayaks and whatnot.
Well, I'd
But,
assume so, with the Maori being in existence.
Yeah, well, I mean in
Yeah.
modern times as well, but it could
Yeah.
be recorded. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's some pretty nasty waters out there in the crikey, what's it even called? I've forgotten. It's not the Torres Strait. That's Tasmania in Australia.
Isn't the Torres Strait north of?
Yeah, that's
Like-
right. It's off Cape York. Wow. I'm
What
losing
is
my
that
own
called?
geography.
Is it like St. George or something, like some colonial name?
I'm so
Ki-
embarrassed that I
it's
can't
the-
remember some of
It's
the
the
major
Kiwi
waters.
Strait, okay?
The Kiwi Strait, that's it, yeah.
Strait of Kiwi.
Tasman Sea, isn't that?
Yeah.
Is that between Australia and New Zealand, or is that between Australia and Tasmania?
I don't know how far it
No.
extends.
Bass Strait, I think, is the one
Oh,
between Australia and Tasmania, and Tasman Sea is between Australia and New Zealand. I believe that's how it goes. Wow. I can tell you, capital cities of states of the US, and I'm forgetting the bloody waters are just off my coast.
well, I don't know what animals live in our
Pacific Ocean.
trees. So
You what?
I said, I can't tell you what animals live in our trees. So, polecat, marsupial that doesn't exist. Well, on that note, I hope you have a good one. And
Thanks, dude.
I'll
Thanks
talk.
for hanging out.
Yeah, cheers. Have a good night. And to everybody watching, GRB, good to see you. Everybody else, have a lovely evening, day, morning, night, whatever.
Delete where applicable.
Right. Talk to you later, man. Take it easy.
All right. See you soon. Huawei. Blacky said, crikey, I can sleep good tonight. I just said it again. You'll sleep extra good. Righto, everyone. Thanks for swinging by. It's good to see everyone and talk to people again. It's been a while. I needed this, I think. Sick of bugs though, and I really need to piss. So I'm just going to go and say see yous later. Good night, good morning, good afternoon. Delete where applicable. Thanks, GRB, for whatever you did, and Pam for slinging some links, and GRB for slinging some links. I've got to remind myself to go and look up Casval Snake. Fucking bugs in my face. But apart from that, thanks heaps for, coming back and hanging out with us. It was good fun. We're having fruit fly plague and they're in my fucking face nonstop. I'm not sick of it. I can endure it, I promise. All right, everyone, take it easy. Thanks again. I've got one. It doesn't work well enough. The holes are too big. If you swing at the fruit flies, they go through the holes. Tried it. It works on bigger flies, but not those tiny little bloody midges and stuff. All right, everyone, thanks heaps. Love yous all. Appreciate yous all. And I guess I'll see yous when I'm looking at yous next week, probably, maybe. Let's go with probably. That's more promising. All right. Take care, everyone.